Our lead gets isekai'd into a prehistoric wasteland where basic hygiene is a myth, and everyone smells like straight hot garbage. In this brutal world, only the alpha gets the girl, and it didn't take long for him to seize the throne as the tribe's new king. Suddenly, he is the most wanted bachelor in the village. Fast forward through the seasons to a moonlit night while he is out on a hunt, when he notices something dangling from his trap. He approaches cautiously. The eerie silence suggests his prey isn't some mindless animal. Axe in hand, he moves in for the kill, only to be hit with a massive shock. It is his own companion caught in the snare. She is stuck in a rather compromising position. He cannot help but smirk at her misfortune, making her blood absolutely boil. She barks at him to quit gawking and start helping, but he trolls her, claiming this view is a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. She threatens to beat him senseless, but he just laughs, mocking her adorable little feet dangling in the air. To mess with her, he blows on her toes before giving them a slow massage. The elf turns scarlet, letting out the most awkward sounds. He is definitely playing with fire now. Her rage peaks as the sounds of her tribe approaching echo through the woods. He cuts her loose before the others catch her in that humiliating state. But let's be real, life as a primitive king wasn't always this chill. Long before he was a lady killer, he was actually being hunted like a common animal by the local tribesmen. Let us rewind to see how this mess started. It all began when he opened his eyes in a world he didn't recognize. As he splashes cold water on his face, he is totally lost. Just 24 hours ago, he was living a completely normal life. He was just another guy shopping in the city. Suddenly, strange whispers fill the air as a group of people close in on him. Their dialect is bizarre, making him think they are just dedicated cosplayers. He asks for directions, but a kid responds by hurling a bone at his head. The projectile whistles past his ear, missing death by a single centimeter. And they say size doesn't matter, that gap was way too close. He bolts into a dead sprint with the savages screaming at his heels. He figures his track skills will give him the edge he needs to escape. But he is not on a track anymore. A jagged spear slices through the air, grazing his stomach with lethal precision. Boom! A game system flickers to life, issuing a brutal quest: survive for 12 hours, or it is game over. His reward: 1 attribute point and a survival kit. Too bad he is already locked in the sights of a massive, hairy warrior. The brute hurls a heavy bone with bone-crushing force. Our hero pushes his limits, but he is too slow. The impact slams right into his neck. Lights out. He wakes up as a prisoner in their village, but hey, at least he cleared the survival mission and bagged his loot. He dumps his point into strength and rips open the survival pack instantly, gaining the ability to understand every tongue in this world. Along with a survival guide, he unlocks a mini-map to track his journey and pulls out a legendary mountain-splitting axe. The system floods his brain with jungle lore and field medicine. Now when he looks at these barbarians, he finally knows what they are saying. One guy is bragging about his kill count, while a woman nearby is already picking out names for his future babies. No child support in the Stone Age, huh? He realizes he is trapped in some high-stakes civilization-building sim. Since the world is still in its infancy, he has a real shot at becoming a king, a president, or even a living god. He commands the system to max out his strength and equips the devastating mountain-splitting axe for the first time. Raw power explodes through his veins. Chen snaps his bindings like they are made of paper, but 2 warriors spot his sudden escape. Meet Stonebone and Langguo Chui. Stonebone barks orders to seal the exits, while the 2 powerhouses step forward to block his path. They growl that there is no escape, but Chen just scoffs with insane confidence, asking how they dare defy a literal deity. Stonebone is visibly confused, demanding to know which god he is yapping about. Chen pegs Langguo Chui as the man in charge. He proclaims he is a divine ruler sent from the heavens, and since they have shown him zero respect, divine retribution is officially on the menu. That sets Stonebone off. As he charges, the system drops a new quest: intimidate these locals and force them into submission. Success means leadership. Failure means losing his legendary axe. Chen's heart skips a beat, because losing that weapon is a death sentence. Without his gear, he is just lunch for the local wildlife. Locked in, Chen braces himself and meets Stonebone's assault head-on. The collision is massive, sending shockwaves that literally shatter the earth beneath their feet. Chen is genuinely shook. These Stone Age guys are built different, but Chen remembers his own buffed stats and shoves back with every ounce of his new strength. Suddenly, Stonebone's weapon snaps like a dry twig. The entire tribe freezes, completely stunned by the sheer display of power. But the vibe shifts instantly. Chen gets a sinking feeling in his gut, and he is right. Stonebone screams for the entire mob to swarm him. Chen loses it and bolts. He thought this was a fair one-on-one, but apparently these guys missed the memo on honorable dueling. A kid lunges, but Chen dodges like a pro and counters in a blur. Fuming, he warns the crowd not to test his patience. He shouts that he will take at least 5 of them to the grave with him, desperately trying to keep the bloodthirsty mob at bay. Death is seconds away. But wait, the savages bolt in pure terror, leaving Chen completely baffled. Suddenly, the system pings with a new quest: protect the tribe from a prehistoric apex predator. The quest auto-accepts, Chen freezes in confusion until a primal chill crawls up his spine. A massive saber-tooth is looming right behind him. Instinct kicks in. Chen hauls ass with the beast pursuing. Claws tear through the air. Chen panics, wondering why every damn thing here wants him for lunch. He curses the system's twisted logic. This isn't a mission, it's a death sentence. He knows. One chomp and he's history. Suddenly agony flares as a jagged claw rips into his flesh. Fighting head-on is suicide. He forces his racing heart to steady, spotting a distant plume of smoke. Fire, the ultimate deterrent for any beast. It's time to turn the tables using man's oldest weapon. He crafts a desperate gambit, roaring a defiant challenge to bait the monster into his trap. He tries to juke the beast, but the tiger is faster, using Chen's back as a springboard. It vaults over him effortlessly. Forget the movies, this is real life. Chen sprints toward the glowing embers. Weaving through the brush and dodging lethal swipes, he finally lunges toward the flickering flames. He grabs a blazing torch and thrusts it at the beast's face. To his absolute relief, the monster recoils in fear. Chen keeps up the tough guy act, though he's low-key praying it leaves. A bone-chilling roar echoes through the woods. Chen freezes. Is something even deadlier hunting them now? The tiger instantly cowers and vanishes. Chen shudders. What kind of nightmare scares an apex predator? If that cat is running, he should too. Quest complete. The system grants 2 precious attribute points. That sound again. Logic says run. Chen doesn't wait around to meet whatever is coming next. He dumps points into strength and agility. With a newfound burst of speed, he blurs toward the tribe. His body feels electric and weightless. Stonebone looks like he's seen a ghost when Chen reappears. "How are you alive?" the chief stammers. Chen just smirks, claiming that Tiger was basically a kitten. "Scared it off with my bare hands," he brags, hoping this flex finally earns him some respect. New quest: Civilization Builder. Goal: construct a village and unite these scattered souls into a tribe. Population target 50 in 18 days. Looking at 15 ragged survivors, Chen realizes he's got work to do. Even counting the kids, they're short. It's time for some aggressive expansion or a hostile takeover. While the tribe snoozes, Chen's stomach is screaming. Hunger wins out and he heads into the dark. No guards. These people are either brave or stupid. But his gut is rumbling. Food is priority 1. He remembers the lamb, but a chilling thought stops him. What could possibly terrify a prehistoric tiger? Whatever is out there is a literal nightmare. Still, he can't survive on an empty stomach. He grips his axe tight, praying he doesn't meet the bigger fish while hunting for that roast. He creeps back to the clearing, every sense dialed to 11. The silence is absolutely deafening. He spots more kills nearby. As the new boss, he can't just feed himself, he's carrying the tribe. He hauls the extra meat back, playing the provider. Then the air suddenly feels heavy with dread. Thud. He tumbles into a massive hole. He starts cussing out the pit trap until he sees it. This isn't a hole, it's a footprint. A colossal, earth-shaking mark left by something monstrously large. The tiger was just the beginning. The terrifying reality of this era finally hits him like a train. This isn't just the past. It's a death trap ruled by titans. He needs a secure base immediately. Morning comes, and instead of working together, the savages are brawling over scraps like animals. "Knock it off," Chen bellows. "Modesty, discipline. These guys don't even have the basics down yet. They're living meal to meal. It's time for a crash course in survival." Chen sets the new law. Hunters eat first. Reward the labor. Stonebone explains their old, inefficient taking turns system. Yesterday was Stonebone's crew. Today belongs to the gatherers and the looters. It's the next squad's turn. Stonebone admits the whole tribe is itching to follow their king. They're all in. But amidst the cheers, Chen spots Sam the kid, still harboring a murderous grudge. Sensing Sam's lingering anxiety over their past friction, Chen realizes it is time for a morale boost. Rallying the tribe, Chen offers a choice: follow him into the unknown to find their ultimate sanctuary. A young girl named Mia tilts her head innocently, questioning the very concept of home. To Chen, it is a fortress where the tribe thrives, roots that nourish and shield their entire lineage. Eyes sparkling, Mia lunges for a hug, pleading to stay by her king's side forever. With a warm grin, Chen promises that soon they will all be united under one roof. Mia's excitement peaks as she screams that the king wants a future with her. Meanwhile, Stonebone focuses on logistics. "Where to?" he asks. Chen gathers the crew, mapping out their requirements for the perfect sprawling terrain. North mountains, south rivers, a tactical paradise with endless water for crops and lush pastures for their beasts. Resources are key, plenty of timber and stone for construction, plus fertile ground for a secure future. Chen aims high, targeting a coastal delta where nutrient-rich soil meets the gateway to the open ocean. Master the waves, check. Sam chimes in, claiming he knows the exact spot. Chen gives the green light. Sam hesitates, warning of a deadly cow herd nearby. Chen's confused, since when were cows a threat? To him, cows just mean free steak and supplies. He orders the tribe to gear up for a hunt. Trekking east, they approach the promised land. Sam double-checks the path, ensuring their safety along the way. Chen pushes the pace, telling them to quit worrying about that saber-toothed tiger. He has got this. If that beast returns, it is toast. Sam points toward the summit where their destination finally comes into view. Reaching the peak, Sam's voice drops to a whisper. Hide, the monsters are right below us. Scouting for threats, Chen catches a salty breeze. He commands his system to project the regional map. The layout is legendary prime real estate for a future empire. Suddenly, Sam violently yanks Chen back into cover. Shh, they will hear you, Sam hisses. Taking a breath, Chen consults his survival guide for local intel. The scan pings 3 rare plants, sunflower grass, dragon vine, and big sabaki, plus 2 local species. Gray squirrels and pincher wasps weak. But where are these supposedly terrifying cows? Chen demands a location. Sam points to a riverside thicket and leads the way. 30 minutes later, they are deep in the woods. One more step, and they are spotted. Chen frowns, the silence is eerie. Why is Sam acting so shook, overreacting much? But then Chen's scanner blares red. His blood runs cold. Something massive is close. Only one signal. Chen sighs in relief, questioning if Sam's memory is just playing tricks on him. A tree suddenly sways. Look up, Sam whispers. Chen obeys and instantly turns into a statue. What the hell is that? The system pings iron black horn cow. This ain't your average heifer. Stonebone's voice trembles. We are actually fighting that. Gulping down his fear, Chen gives a firm nod. Set the trap. I am going in solo to scout. The tribe watches, absolutely stunned by his sheer bravado. They think he is a total Chad, but Chen is low-key crying, regretting every life choice that led here. Failure means extinction. It is time to bet everything on his agility stats. He peeks again and freezes. The beast's legs are literally bigger than his whole body. Shaking, Chen tries a friendly greeting. Big mistake. The cow's face contorts in pure rage, unleashing a bone-shaking roar that rattles his teeth. Stampede, the whole herd thunders toward him as Chen dives into the river, screaming for his life. From the bushes, the tribe is inspired. They think their king is pulling a legendary 200 IQ bait move. To save them, he would face anything. Meanwhile, Chen leaps off a ledge in desperation, but the ground tremors. What was that? Looking down, he sees a massive cow smashed headfirst into the cliffside. It could not break. Chen's brain sparks. These heavy hitters cannot climb. He finally has a winning strategy. No turning back now. With a pack of furious tanks waiting below, the only way is up. He scales the heights, and upon reaching the peak, the breathtaking scenery nearly stops his heart. This is it. The perfect spot. Right here, he vows to forge the greatest empire in history. The real adventure starts now. Below, Sam watches the cows retreat, frantically searching for any sign of Chen. You think he is Pancake, Stonebone worries, scrambling up a tree to scan for their missing leader. Intending to reclaim the lost weapon, Stonebone scaled the tree only for Chen's axe to whistle through the air and embed itself inches away. Stunned into silence, Stonebone could only stare as Chen ridiculed him for daring to think the king was history. Relief washed over the crew seeing Chen breathing. Curiosity piqued, Stonebone questioned if those bovines were actually that formidable. Chen declared that cow meat was the key to his next power-up, then casually invited the squad to join the feast. Stonebone and Sam weren't feeling it. They claimed the beasts were untouchable, and even a victory wouldn't make that meat appetizing. Chen's patience snapped, demanding they stop overthinking. Terrified by his gaze, they instantly folded and agreed to dig in. The grind began. Chen promised to teach them weapon crafting and elite hunting. In 3 days, those cows were toast. Demonstrating his monstrous output, Chen cleaved a massive tree with a single casual swing, leaving everyone speechless. However, Stonebone stepped up, questioning why he'd waste a perfectly good tree that didn't even provide fruit. Chen explained this was about building an arsenal. He then walked them through the process of carving lethal spears from timber. While working, Chen noticed his tech stats surging. To show off the spear's lethality, he launched one with pinpoint accuracy. The tribe was shook. They'd spent their lives gathering wood, never imagining it could be turned into a weapon of war. Hype erupted as everyone clamored to try. Chen pointed at Stonebone, signaling him to step up to the plate first. As Stonebone struggled, Chen kept the production line moving. Hours later, the entire tribe was grinding their spear skills. In the middle of the drill, Chen challenged Liu Tang and He Jiao to a 2-on-1 handicap match. They charged with pure aggression, but Chen ghosted their attacks effortlessly before delivering a cold knockout to He Jiao. Fueled by rage, Liu Tang lunged again, actually grazing Chen and drawing blood. The crowd went dead, silent in shock. Chen smirked at Liu Tang, noting that if that spear had a real tip, his life would have ended right there. Liu Tang hailed their king as a literal god, but Chen corrected him they were relying on brute force instead of finesse. A spear's soul is its point. They needed to master precision, driving that sharp edge into the enemy's weakest spot. Next up, target practice. He set up a mark and ordered the squad to start sniping from a distance. Round after round, they missed. Chen started to wonder if his tribe was just built different, and not in a good way. Suddenly, a spear slammed into the bullseye. The entire tribe gasped, shocked that someone actually possessed that main character energy. Chen turned to find Huang Xia standing tall. When asked if it was him, Huang Xia simply wondered if he'd won the prize. Confirming the win, Chen rewarded him with twin spears. Suddenly, a scout scrambled over reporting a beast on the prowl. Chen barked orders to prep for war, secretly thrilled. This wasn't just a threat. It was the ultimate tutorial for his squad. The monster exploded from the brush, roaring in defiance. Chen charged head-on, shouting that dinner was officially served. As the clash ignited, Chen took command, ordering the tribe to circle the beast and wait for his signal to strike. He opened with a flurry, somehow sapping the beast's speed. Chen signaled Stonebone and Huangxi to launch their projectiles from the rear. The impact sent the beast into a berserk rage, blowing Chen back and shattering his spear. He needed a new plan fast, but Huangxi beat him to it, sniping the beast right in its maw. Chen was low-key impressed by that level of accuracy. A rain of wood followed as the tribe opened fire. Above the chaos, Sam watched from the canopy like a silent predator. The beast tried to bolt, but Chen cut off its escape, signaling Sam to deliver the final judgment. Sam plummeted, driving his spear deep into the creature's skull. The beast went full berserk, turning the atmosphere suffocatingly tense. Sam was left wide open, still clinging to his weapon. In a flash, Chen blurred across the battlefield and took flight. His axe descended with a thunderous boom, swallowing the entire clearing in a thick veil of smoke. The tribe screamed in panic. Desperate cries for their king filled the air. When the dust settled, Chen told them to chill, joking they sounded like a funeral choir. He praised their lethal coordination and declared a victory feast, sending the tribe into a state of pure euphoria. Sam received a nod for his bravery, but Chen crowned Huang Xia as the true MVP of the hunt. From that moment, Huang Xia became Chen's go-to partner, tasked with field testing the king's latest lethal inventions. Later that night, Stonebone was busy capping, telling anyone who'd listen how he was the real hero of the hunt. When Mia walked by with a prime cut of meat, Stonebone tried to pull rank and demand she hand it over. Mia shut him down instantly, stating this was a tribute for their king before presenting the feast to Chen. Chen looked at the raw slab confused. He asked if they seriously planned on eating that without any prep. He could have sworn he'd seen these guys using fire to cook before. Chen stared at the bloody, raw chunks with disgust. Mia sighed, explaining their precious flame had flickered out long ago. Without heat, they were just animals. Chen knew fire wasn't just warmth, it was the spark of human history. It meant safety from predators and better meals. He decided to bestow one final world-changing gift upon his people. He'd teach them to tame the flame. Grabbing a shattered spear, he ground it against wood, desperate for a spark. "Pack the dry fluff here," he ordered. He showed them how to spin the wood rapidly between their palms. Friction turned to heat. As a tiny coal finally glowed, the tribe gasped, their eyes wide with pure shock. They cheered for Chen. Stonebone roared, "Witness our king, the master of the sacred flame," so everyone heard. Chen yanked him down, hissing for silence. Flexing was cool, but staying low-key was a survival must. Ding, 10 tech points secured. Chen smirked. Leveling up this primitive world was going to be a total breeze. He finally checked the menu. These points could actually scan and unlock powerful genetic traits in his tribe. 10 points per scan. Just then, Sam hurried over blood on his hands from butchering the day's kill. The sow was nursing, Sam noted. Suspecting piglets were close, they scoured the brush until they found them. Quest alert, capture the boar cubs and begin the path of domestication. Chen's eyes gleamed at the challenge. He accepted instantly. Bring them back alive. Chen ordered Mia and Sam, warning them to watch their step. No scratches, he insisted. Every cub was precious. Mia snatched Sam's hand, ready to head out. They sprinted off. Chen needed a pen pronto. He summoned Stonebone, telling him to get to work. Evening fell, as Stonebone dragged heavy branches, grumbling to the boys about the king's weird new project. Back at camp, the tribe was busy braiding strange fibers. Stonebone blinked. "Huangsu, what the heck is this?" "It's grass rope," Huangsu beamed. Stronger than vines, he began showing him the secret technique of the weave. Smooth it, then twist. Stonebone's brain was lagging, and his frustration was starting to peak. He was totally lost. "Stop lagging and get those branches over here," Chen shouted, snapping him back. Under Chen's direction, they lashed the wood together. 5 sturdy frames began to take shape against the dirt. They dropped the frames into deep pits, binding the tops until they formed a massive secure cage structure. They thatched the roof with straw. Suddenly, the entire tribe charged inside the brand new structure. Everyone brawled for a spot, screaming about bearing the king's heirs. Chen stood there, absolutely mortified. "This isn't for you," he barked. Right then, Sam and Mia returned with the squealing piglets in tow. Stonebone burst into tears, begging Chen to reconsider. "You can't do this, King. It's not right. Why waste a luxury nest on dinner?" Egan joined in, clinging to Chen. They all wanted that penthouse life. "We want to cuddle with you," Stonebone sobbed. Chen shoved them back, looking completely disgusted. "I'm not cuddling with dudes," Chen snapped. "Fine, keep the pigsty if you love it so much." But don't expect a real house later. Egan's jaw dropped. He was suddenly rethinking everything. Wait, there's better, Egan stammered. Stonebone can have this one, I'll take the upgrade. Stonebone bailed immediately. Ignoring the drama, Chen ordered Sam to toss the boars into their new home. Huangsu tilted his head. Why raise them? Aren't they just supposed to be on the menu tonight? Want food without the life-risking hunt? Chen asked. Huangsu nodded, wildly hanging on every word. Infinite bacon, Chen promised. Quest complete. The beast-taming reward flashed before his eyes. Inside the chest sat a packet of salt and a recipe for fried clams. Talk about random drops. Is this a survival game or a cooking sim? Chen wondered if the system wanted him to be a chef. Recipe tasks unlocked secret buffs. Fine then. Chen decided it was time to level up his cooking skill. Midnight settled over the camp. Only Sam remained awake. You're grinding hard, Sam Chen noted with a smile. I owe you for the trouble I caused, Sam admitted, his head low with lingering guilt. Chen laughed and hugged him. No grudges here, bro. But tell me, are there others out there like us? Nearby, yes, Sam whispered. But they aren't like us. They're hostile and they look different. Chen's interest peaked. Sam named 3 Coconut Grove, the Bay, and the mysterious Giant Stone Clan. They weren't close. Reaching any of them meant a grueling day and night of non-stop travel. Tren grills some for intel on the surrounding groups. Some mentions the Coconut Forest Tribe, 40 pacifists who avoid conflict. These scouts are swift, led by a formidable female chieftain. Next is the Bay Tribe, equally large but volatile. They radiate pure menace. According to some, these guys are constantly at each other's throats in brutal internal feuds. Finally, there's the Great Rock Tribe, the undisputed kings of the Southwest Mountain. They boast the largest population. These mountain dwellers rarely descend, and rumors say their leader possesses godlike strength capable of slaying tigers barehanded. Processing the intel, Trun realizes the peaceful Coconut Forest Tribe is the golden opportunity he's been looking for. They'll be his first target. Since other groups are ticking time bombs, a peaceful takeover is the only way. Suddenly, Trun feels a presence. It's Mi, wrapping her arms around him and whispering why he's still awake. She suggests finding something exciting to do, but a flustered Trun immediately shuts her down. Undeterred, Mi strikes a playful pose, asking if she looks like a cute kitten. Trun's anxiety levels skyrocket. Desperate to escape, he grabs Sam, claiming he needs urgent help, and makes a break for it. Mi is left looking rejected. By dawn, the scene shifts to the coast where Trun and Sam lie in wait. They're scouting the Bay Tribe, who soon arrive on the shore to hunt a massive dodo bird. Trun is relieved they finally showed up after a long stakeout, but he watches their behavior closely. The Bay members immediately start brawling over the kill. Trun wonders if absorbing these savages is worth the trouble. Sam reminds him they're outnumbered 2-1. A direct assault against these warriors would be total suicide. Superior tech could bridge the gap, but first they must deal with the wild cattle roaming nearby. Harvesting those beasts is the key to crafting high-tier gear and upgrading their primitive arsenal. Returning to the hideout, the tribe erupts in joy. Their leader is back, and the relief is palpable. Thachkote admits they feared their king had abandoned them. Tren apologizes, but reminds them the grind starts now. He orders spear training, putting Hoangtu in charge. They have exactly 1 day to master the technique. Meanwhile, Mi approaches with a soft leaf, excitedly explaining its benefits for hygiene after using the restroom. Tren redirects her energy, tasking the women with gathering stones to sharpen their wooden spears. Before long, Mi and her crew return, hauling a horde of rocks and asking if they meet the standards. Perfect, Tren says. He explains the process of grinding edges against wet stones until they're razor sharp. By lashing the sharpened stone to a wooden shaft, they successfully craft their very first stone-tipped spear. The women are awestruck, though Trun grumbles internally about the measly system points he earned. He tells them to keep working, but Mi quickly calls him over, already having finished her masterpiece. She's crafted a devastating double-edged axe. When Trun praises her handiwork, her face lights up with joy. Suddenly, a notification pings. Tren has unlocked a hidden feature, Talent Discovery. He checks Mi's stats immediately. The system flags her as a crafting genius. Feeling his intense gaze, Mi blushes and acts incredibly shy. Ignoring her shyness, Trun pushes for mass production. He needs spears and axes, and he needs them now. Soon, 30 weapons are ready. Mi alone produced over half the arsenal, earning high praise from her king. But then Tren notices her hands. They're raw and bloodied from the grueling labor of grinding stone. His genuine concern makes Mi's face turn beet red. Seeing this, the other girls swarm him teasingly, seeking attention. Overwhelmed by the sudden female attention, Tren beats a hasty retreat toward the men's training grounds. He calls it a day for the crafters, and shifts his focus to the warrior's progress. Out of nowhere, a stray log hurtles toward him. Tren's reflexes kick in, and he ducks just in time. It's all part of the training. Hoangtu has turned these men into a unit, and Trun is impressed. Hoangtu reports massive progress. His students can now hit the mark with deadly precision. Using talent discovery, Trun sees Hoang Tu is a spearmaster, while Luke Din has raw, unrefined power. He also notes that Lam Kot Chui was the first to truly master the technique among the new recruits. But the real shocker is the synergy between Hoang Tu and Thach Kot. Together they're a different beast. They unleash a rotating barrage of 4 spears simultaneously achieving peak destructive efficiency. With this firepower, the Black Bulls won't stand a chance. Thach Kot is skeptical, but Tren's confidence is unwavering. They had an ace up their sleeve. Huang Shu's eyes widened, demanding to know what this secret weapon was. Chen revealed several jet black leaves. Look closely, he commanded, ordering the tribe to harvest every single one. Don't touch these with open wounds, he warned. It was a natural paralytic. That night, Chen crafted a mortar. Mia arrived with the spears, confused why he was carving a hollow basin into the cold rock. It's a mortar, Chen smirked. He told her to have the women pulverize those toxic leaves into venom, coat every spear tip in this sludge. Suddenly, the men approached, wanting to help with the heavy lifting. Rest up, Chen countered. I need your full strength tomorrow. Later, he sat eating salted grilled meat. Suddenly, a spear thudded nearby. Mia's way of signaling that the poison coating was finally complete. Chen stood. Women guard the camp and children. The rest of you, follow me to the mountain. The tribe roared with adrenaline, grabbing their gear. They were ready to hunt those monsters down. They reached the summit. Aiden's voice trembled. Is it really okay for our king to be bait? He was visibly shaken. Stonebone just laughed. Our king is a monster. He'll be just fine. Get ready, Sam. Hissed eyes locked on the river. Something massive was moving through the brush. Stonebone barked at the women to keep the spears flowing, especially for Sam's deadly aim. Everyone took their spots. Their king was gambling his life, and they couldn't afford to lose him. Rewind 10 minutes. Chen was stalking the Black Bulls, calculating the perfect path to Stone Mountain. He needed to be cautious. His plan, lure a smaller bull away from the herd first. He chucked a rock at a target. Hey, I'm the boss here, he taunted, baiting the beast. The bull snapped. Instantly, 3 massive shadows thundered toward Chen with pure murderous intent. Sprinting for his life, Chen yelled, Stonebone, target the first one. Now. Stonebone signaled the volley. A rain of spears erupted, biting deep into the bull's thick hides. Seizing the opening, Sam's spears whistled through the air, striking the beasts directly in their necks. Chen lunged for a ledge, but his grip failed. Suddenly, Stonebone's hand shot out, pulling him up. Keep the pressure on, Chen roared. Don't stop while they're still reeling from the poison. Stonebone took charge, orchestrating the strikes. Chen watched, impressed by his subordinate's raw leadership talent. This man was a natural commander. Chen realized Stonebone was someone he had to mold. Stonebone soon returned with a report. The bulls were finally slowing down. Chen grinned. The venom was working fast. But then Sam's scream shattered everything the whole herd was charging. They were terrifyingly fast. Stay calm, Chen commanded. This is still part of the plan. Finish the 3 below, he ordered. Don't let a single one of them crawl away. The poison was paralyzing them. Aim for their legs, Chen yelled. Keep them grounded. Stonebone signaled the final throw. The 3 titans finally hit the dirt, completely incapacitated. Chen called a halt, but Stonebone disagreed. No time for mercy, we have to kill them. The herd is almost here, Mia checked the inventory. We only have 28 spears left. Sam scanned the horizon. About 20 more bulls, Chen nodded, that's why he had called the halt. Yangshu looked panicked. Are we just going to waste all the effort we spent? Trust the process, Chen countered. He never intended to fight the entire herd head-on. The target was the alpha. Once the king falls, the rest of the herd will scatter. To lure the boss out, they needed bait. Those 3 bulls were their only ticket. He only wanted 1 bull, but the extra 2 had drained their precious spear supply. Then, there Sam pointed. The alpha emerged a true prehistoric nightmare. It let out a deafening roar. The herd followed, charging the mountain like a battering ram. Had they gone completely insane? But Chen saw the truth. The boss wasn't fighting. It had a much darker plan. The mountain began to crumble. Run, Chen screamed, but Mia was trapped in the collapse. She plummeted as the cliffside shattered. Chen dove after her without a second thought, barking for Aegon to follow. Heizhu Jiao and Lang Guchui joined the fray immediately. It was time for a desperate final stand. Heizhu Jiao wanted to charge the herd, but Aegon shut him down. Don't be reckless. Wait for the chief's signal. Chen's nerves were fried. He realized the king bull had sniffed out his trap. That monster's intelligence was terrifying. Stonebone ordered a rescue mission for the leader, but Chen's roar stopped the tribesmen dead in their tracks. Hold the high ground, rain spears down, Chen screamed before swinging his massive axe into the first beast. The tribe fought in perfect sync with spears and stone. They struck and parried in lethal, rhythmic waves. Blood painted the soil as the herd buckled. Stonebone saw the opening and rallied those above to strike. Spears fell like lethal rain. Several beasts collapsed, then the alpha let out a command that halted the carnage. The herd retreated, shocking Chen. Was the king bull clearing the field for a one-on-one duel to the death? Rain lashed down as the alpha stepped forth. It took a massive breath and unleashed a literal sea of fire. Scattered Chen screamed. The firestorm was nuclear, carving a massive crater right into the mountainside. A path opened through the rock. The tribe froze in terror. Was that a roar or a sonic bomb? Their spirits shattered instantly. Chen acted fast, ordering Agon to escort Mia and the civilians north immediately. He would be the bait. Chen signaled Stonebone to stand by, then turned to face the beast alone. "I'm your opponent," he roared. Man and monster collided in a brutal struggle for absolute dominance. The alpha tossed him like a rag doll. Chen eyed the newly blasted tunnel, searching for a tactical edge. The beast charged, slamming into the peak with explosive force. The tribe watched, their hearts stopping in fear. They wouldn't run. If their leader was gone, they'd die fighting. Then, a silver flash sliced the air. Chen's axe bit deep into the alpha's skull. He was alive, having used the tunnel as a tactical shield. "Is that all you've got?" Chen taunted, though his internal organs felt like they were in a blender. Cheers erupted as they saw Chen stand, but he just roared at Stonebone to stay locked and loaded. Agon and Hei Jujiao drew its fire, creating a window for Chen to deliver a lethal backstab. Agon lunged but got gored by a massive horn. Chen surged forward, carving a deep gash across the beast's face. Agon was freed. The alpha spat more fire, but they dodged, and Chen landed a perfect crushing blow. A massive opening appeared. Chen screamed for Stonebone and Sam to drive their spears into the gap. The spears found their mark. The king bull wobbled, then crashed. Was the nightmare finally over? Joy filled the air, but Chen felt a chill. The rest of the herd wasn't moving. They were waiting. Suddenly, the alpha roared back to life, lunging at Chen with a point-blank incinerating blast. Stonebone watched in horror. Chen cursed his own stupidity. He'd let his guard down for one fatal second. The beast ripped the spear from its flesh and launched it at Chen like a cruise missile. Broken and exhausted, Chen accepted his fate. But then the unthinkable happened right before his eyes. Mia dove into the spear's path. Time stopped. A lifetime of memories with her flashed in a heartbeat. Primal fury exploded within Chen. The system screamed about critical body overload, but he didn't care. He launched himself at the beast, his blade descending like divine judgment, splitting the alpha perfectly in two. The monster lay in pieces. Blinded by rage, Chen turned his blood-soaked gaze toward the remaining herd. Who's next? He challenged every last beast. With one terrifying step forward, the herd's courage shattered, and they fled. They retreated in panic. As the dust settled, the system's red warnings began blaring in Chen's mind. Critical health. He hacked up blood, the world fading to black as he collapsed into the dirt. His vision blurred. Get the ointment. For Mia, he wheezed before the darkness finally claimed him. Days crawled by before Chen finally drifted back to consciousness, inside a rustic, quiet shed. He saw Ayu waiting. His first thought, is this the pig pen I designed? Ayu shook her head. After the battle, the tribe moved here and built this sanctuary just for him. Rest, she urged, eager to announce his recovery. But Chen grabbed her arm. Mia Langu Chui. Are they okay? Ayu smiled. Langu Chui cheated death and has been guarding your door like a loyal shadow ever since. Mia's wounds were grave, but the king's miracle elixir pulled her back from the brink. With enough rest, she'd pull through. The others were safe too. Relief washed over Chen until Ayu dropped a bombshell. 4 days had passed. The world blurred. 4 days Chen scrambled to check the system, and his heart sank. The calendar didn't lie. Nearly half his time had evaporated, leaving a mere 11 days to clear the mission. Ayu watched him baffled. As her king stared into the void, paralyzed by thought, he struggled to rise, but his body betrayed him. Pushing through the pain, Chen barked an order to fetch Stonebone immediately. Ayu obeyed, rushing into the sunlight. Alone in the silence, Chen knew they were sitting ducks. If word of his weakness leaked, they were finished. Their entire future rested on a knife's edge. They needed fortifications, a perimeter fence, and they needed it yesterday. Proper walls would come later, but for now, they needed a shield. When Stonebone arrived, Chen kept him at a distance. In a low, urgent whisper, he laid out a top-secret directive. Without a word, Stonebone vanished to execute the task. Yet the paranoia lingered. One slip-up would be fatal. This time, his grand strategy had to be absolute perfection. Turning to Lang Gu Chu, Chen revealed a new mission. The warrior listened intently as the king issued a chilling command. Harvest the Black Bull King. He needed the bones and an unblemished hide. Then came the real shocker. Chen handed over his personal weapon. Once they cleared out, Ayu begged him to rest, but the king wasn't finished. He beckoned her closer for a private council. As the door closed, the atmosphere grew heavy with secrets. Chen revealed the high-stakes role he had envisioned only for her. Without hesitation, Ayu's loyalty flared. But then she started shedding her clothes, misreading the vibe entirely. A panicked Chen shouted for her to cover up. Flushed with embarrassment, Ayu listened as Chen explained the real play. He needed her to be the lead in a grand deception. They were going to negotiate with the Coconut Grove clan, or rather manipulate them into swearing fealty to his throne. Ayu hesitated. Could they really force a massive clan like that to bend the knee? The risk was staggering. That's the point, Chen countered. They had to flex their supposed might and corner the Coconut Grove into submission. He chose Ayu for two tactical reasons. First, the tribe was a matriarchy. A woman's voice would carry more weight. Second, she was the only one who knew his secret, that his ultimate attack had left him a hollow shell. The medicine only bought him time. He was still critically injured. Ayu smirked as the realization hit her. They were going to bluff their way to victory. She gave a confident nod. She knew exactly how to play the part. Rest up, King. I've got this. Soon, Ayu and Sam were trekking deep into Coconut Grove territory. Sam was on edge, warning that even a peaceful clan has its limits. Ayu just shrugged. She knew the mission. They pressed on until they hit a natural spring where the tribe's women were cooling off in the water. Sam spotted their target, the formidable leader of the clan. But before they could strategize, their cover was blown. Alert sentries surrounded them instantly. Moments later, they were hauled before the icy gaze of Lisa the clan head. The guards reported catching two rats skulking around, claiming to be ambassadors for some unknown king. Sam stood tall, asserting their status, but Lisa just laughed. To her, Ayu looked like a common slave, nothing more. She mocked their gifts as mere scraps fit only for beggars. With a wave of her hand, she ordered Sam dragged away. Ayu didn't flinch. She scoffed, pitying a queen who was so short-sighted. If Lisa wanted to play small, fine. That mountain of meat they brought, they'd just give it to the Bay clan instead. Lisa froze, her interest piqued. A mountain of meat, Lisa echoed. Ayu smirked, mentioning the legendary giant bulls that guarded the northern river. Lisa assumed they were begging for a hunting alliance. But Ayu's response was a sharp, mocking laugh. Don't insult us, Ayu spat. The bulls are dead and that territory, it belongs to our king now. A shockwave of whispers hit the crowd. Liars. That herd had nearly trampled their entire tribe into the dirt once. Lisa stood, her aura darkening. She asked Ayu if she knew the gruesome fate that awaited liars in her presence. Ayu stared her down. The alpha bull fell like a toy before my king. If you've got the spine, come see the bodies. Ayu laughed at their fear, taunting that if her king truly wished it, this entire clan would be leveled by dawn. Sam doubled down. They came for peace, bringing the king's invitation. Why would they lie about such an easy victory? Ayu threw one last jab. If the queen was too terrified to leave her nest, she could at least send some lackeys for the meat. The disrespect stung, making Lisa's blood boil. She leveled a final icy warning. If this was a game, they wouldn't survive it. Ayu and Sam arrived with Lisa's squad. Sam cheered their return, but Stonebone snapped at him to pipe down. Go fix the shelters, he barked. One of Lisa's followers whispered, wondering what these strange houses even were. Ayu signaled Chen. The Coconut Grove clan was here. But as Lisa locked eyes with Chen, her entire body froze. An overwhelming aura radiated from him like an apex predator, stalking its prey. Little did she know, Chen's monstrous disguise was working perfectly. He praised Ayu, while his crushing presence sent shivers down Lisa's spine. Rustling echoed from the brush. It was Mia Lang, Guchue, and Agun lurking in the shadows. Chen had benched the injured, but Agun couldn't resist sneaking a peek at the legendary Coconut Queen. Chen formally welcomed Lisa's clan, acknowledging the long journey they'd made to his domain. Where's the tribute? One girl demanded. Chen remained stone-faced, pointing toward a nearby clearing. Take your fill, he offered. But reaching the spot, they gasped. A literal mountain of meat awaited them. Heiju Jun and Lutang were already butchering the kill. They warned a greedy girl that this hide was iron tough. She tried hacking it with a branch only for the wood to shatter. The boys erupted in mocking laughter. Laugh all you want, she hissed, claiming they only scored the kill because the herd was panicked. You want a piece of me, Heiju Jun barked. Suddenly, Chen's massive axe slammed into the earth between them. The girls recoiled in pure terror. Chen had ended the spat with one throw. Even Lisa looked visibly shaken. What kind of god-tier weapon is that, she wondered. It outclassed their primitive bone knives by light years. Chen ordered her to use his Pangu axe to carve the meat. Heiju Jun groaned, insisting the girls started the drama. But one sharp look from Chen forced him to shut up. He obeyed, grumbling about how lucky they were. Chen promised Lisa a smooth transaction. It was a matter of honor. That's how I roll, he stated. Lisa nervously asked how he took down the bulls. Chen's response was cryptic. Trust me or find out the hard way. Then he signaled that the meeting was over. Take the loot and go, he commanded. Lisa sighed, calling him a man with a heart of ice. But internally, Chen was hurting. That cool axe throw was a mistake. His bandage was the only thing holding him together. His wound finally snapped. As crimson began to soak through, panic flared in Chen's eyes. Luckily, Ayu played interference, letting Chen hide the blood. She bragged about their arsenal to keep Lisa's eyes busy. She offered to share the tech, but Lisa declined. Those aren't our style, she claimed coolly. We have our own secret trump cards, she warned Chen, hoping a war would never be necessary. Lisa signaled the retreat, ordering her squad to haul the meat. Ayu shouted a final offer, saying they could return for more, as long as other clans didn't get there first. Safely away, Lisa demanded an intel report. Her secret scouts emerged from the shadows to spill the tea. Maya reported that the men were constructing strange, sturdy structures called houses. Even weirder, they heard boars growling from inside. Lisa was floored. Was he really building palaces for pigs? But the real shocker was yet to come. They've mastered a terrifying power, Maya whispered. The power of the fire god. Lisa scoffed at the impossibility, but Maya swore they saw flames birthed from nothing. They used this magic to cook. Maya hesitated, but one look from Lisa forced her to continue. Their numbers are tiny, barely 10 people, mostly kids and elders, Maya revealed. Yet she suspected a hidden army. Lisa snapped, demanding to know why they hadn't gathered more intel. The clearing is too open, Maya explained. Any closer, and they'd have been spotted instantly. Lisa seemed to accept the excuse, then suddenly lashed out with her whip, in a blur of violence. No more excuses, she hissed. Maya trembled, thanking her queen for the merciful strike. Back at base, Chen finally let his guard down. He confessed to Ayu that the bullfight had wrecked him. He praised her silver tongue for the distraction. But then Ayu leaned in with a playful smirk. So, do you like me better than that? Queen Chen's face went red as he stammered for an answer. He quickly changed the subject, ordering the men back to help him heal, while Lang Guchui stood guard. I need total rest, he muttered. Ayu nodded, adding, You looked pretty badass today, though. Chen's blush deepened. Sam suddenly arrived, praising Chen's genius. Meanwhile, the Coconut Grove clan scouts were lurking exactly where he'd predicted. Chen immediately pivoted, asking about the secret mission. Sam grinned. It was done. The rivals only saw what Chen allowed, staying totally oblivious. Chen gave a rare nod of approval, sending a hyped Sam off to construction duty. Once they were alone, Ayu questioned if their rivals would really join them peacefully. Chen stayed cryptic. The opening gambit was only starting. Their next move would trigger everything. Phase 2 was imminent. Retiring to his shack, Chen began auditing his dwindling survival resources. With only 11 days left and wounds far from healed, he summoned the system's inventory. The stash was pathetic, just salt and one last healing tube. But then, he saw it. His basic tool had evolved into the legendary Axe of Pangu Chen, froze in shock. He'd been so distracted that the transformation went unnoticed during the morning's chaotic chores. The spear's new requirement flashed blood sacrifice. It must have awakened during his brutal clash. This world creation skill demanded god-tier timing 1 second off, and the entire play crumbles. Were his other blades hiding secret stats too? He shook it off. Overthinking was dangerous. Every weapon followed its own destiny. Shifting gears, he did a sweep of his remaining gear. The healing ointment was down to its final drop. He had to save it for survival. Without it, he'd be hunting solo with just his axe. Plus, their stolen meat was vanishing. They had 48 hours of food left. Low on options, Chen signaled for Sam's return. The grind never stops. When Sam appeared, Chen asked, Remember those massive black bulls? He gave a direct order, locate that herd within 2 days. Sam vanished into the brush. Sam's promise echoed as he sprinted off. Seeing the hustle, Chen knew he couldn't slack. It was time to craft peace offerings. While Sam tracked beasts, Chen started his project. 2 days vanished. With the deadline looming, the system pinged he'd racked up massive points. He'd forged new spearheads, a bone whistle, and a canteen. The whistle was for stone bone. It was a game changer for tactical coordination. Meanwhile, those stone tips turned sticks into weapons. Safety first in case the neighbors chose violence. As for the horn flask, that was for Sam. Ayu burst in with the update the shelters were complete. Chen stood eager to inspect. Stonebone beamed with pride, showcasing their new primitive mansion. Tell me this isn't cool. It wasn't exactly 5-star, but Chen gave the thumbs up. The tribe erupted in celebration. No more cramped cages or sleeping in dirt. But while they partied, Chen was plotting. Despite the progress, he felt the pressure. Stonebone finished the structure, triggering a notification. 10 points banked. Gazing at the settlement, Chen realized how much they had evolved. They started as literal savages, governed by instinct. Now, things were finally looking different. Their crude ways were fading, replaced by sharp focus. Evolution was taking root right now. Was the system fast-tracking human development? He ordered the guards to alert him when Sam returned. Back at the shack, the wait was short. Sam came barreling in, screaming, Found them! Good work. Chen's eyes sharpened. It was time for Phase 2. Follow me, everyone. He pulled Stonebone into a huddle. Minutes later, the master plan was laid bare. Any questions? Stonebone hesitated, the weight of the gamble clearly getting to him. Sam clapped his back. He had it covered. Stonebone's only job was to lead. Handing over the bone whistle, Chen explained its value. Then he teased Sam's mysterious reward. Survival first, loot later. Sam was hyped. A dangerous smirk finally played on Chen's lips. When the signal drops, you move immediately. The core team nodded, ready for the gamble. The warriors vanished into the shadows. Alone with his thoughts, Chen felt the crushing pressure. They were dangerously short-handed, forcing him to assign heavy labor even to the wounded men. He ordered Ayu to have Mia and Langu Chui stack a massive bonfire by the cabin, but hold the flame. Ayu wondered if it was for their visitors. Chen nodded, questioning if the trap they set 2 days ago would snap shut. Moments later, a scout froze. A large warband from the Coconut Grove clan was marching straight for their camp. She bolted back, breathless, and alerted Chen that the Coconut Grove invaders had finally arrived. Inside, Ayu was still fussing over him, and Chen was low-key vibing with all the royal treatment. He smirked, imagining that once he crushed the Coconut Grove clan, both Lisa and Ayu would be serving him. Hearing they were here, Ayu went to greet them. She invited Lisa into the palace, claiming their king was waiting. That word palace stunned Lisa. How did these people turn a trashy shed into a wooden house so fast? She scanned the area, her mind reeling at how quickly Chen's tribe was evolving before her eyes. Lisa flashed a sharp smile and asked if her king was too chicken to face them in person. She claimed they didn't want drama, but they'd be taking a massive meat tax as compensation for their trouble. She added that her crew wanted to see the neighbors, hoping they wouldn't scare the life out of Chen's people. Ayu laughed it off. His Majesty already prepped 40 portions of meat. Feel free to take the loot. Though Ayu teased, glancing at their ranks, it doesn't look like you even brought 40 people today. Lisa narrowed her eyes. Why waste your loyalty here, Ayu? Join Coconut Grove. I have a spot right beside me. Ayu bowed politely. Thanks, but my king's strength already won my heart. I'm staying right here. She led them to the storehouse, telling them to feast until they were stuffed if they couldn't carry it all. She even suggested that if the butchering was too hard, their warriors could handle the heavy lifting for them. Lisa told her girls to eat and stay sharp while she confronted Chen. He greeted her with total chill. Seeing Chen in such a classy setup made Lisa's face heat up. She played it cool, admitting the place looked decent. Chen caught her checking out the decor and decided to flex, hoping to take the wow factor even higher. This just a temporary tent, he shrugged. Once the real palace is finished, the tribes can have this old thing. Lisa stood there stunned. You're actually going to let your people live in a place like this, she stammered. Chen admitted it was basic for now, promising stone villas later. Then without warning, Lisa's whip lashed out. She bound him tight, pulling him close. The tension was thick as Chen hissed. What's the play here? Lisa smirked inches from his face. I know men, Chen, and I know exactly how to make you surrender those secrets. She wondered if he'd break. Chen was low-key enjoying the intensity, but he kept his poker face and laughed. You really think a little rope forces my hand? Do you think I don't have a plan B? He challenged. Inside, he was panicking. He had zero backup. He was injured, outmatched, and losing control of the situation fast. To his massive relief, Ayu burst in announcing that the feast was finally ready for the guests. But when Ayu saw their intimate position, she froze. King, you shouldn't be doing that, she blurted out. Lisa withdrew the whip. Chen cleared his throat, saying it was time to grill. Ayu, is the fire roaring yet? Meanwhile, Lisa watched him confused. Was his calm real? Did he actually have an ace up his sleeve? Or was he just a total madman? His unshakable energy was nothing like the warriors in her own clan. Outside the Coconut Grove, girls were hyped. Lisa, get over here. This meat smells like absolute heaven, they cheered. Chen slipped Ayu some salt, telling her to pass the special seasoning around to the Coconut Grove crew. Ayu told everyone to sprinkle a bit of gone, Lisa snapped. What exactly are you putting on our food? Too scared to eat. Fine, leave it, Ayu fired back. But the other girls were already raving about the flavor. Chen grinned. Let them eat. Every bite bought Sam and Stonebone more time to finish the real mission. The scene shifted to Stonebone and his crew lurking near the Black Bulls. The ambush was set. Liu Tang whispered, Why hunt more bulls? We're loaded with meat. Stonebone just told him to shut up. Stop asking, and follow orders, he hissed. Then Huang Shu's signal flashed. Spears flew, striking the herd. The bulls went wild. Stonebone shouted to Sam, They're charging your way. Sam smirked and dropped from his branch. He drove his spear deep into a bull's neck. Gotcha, this beast is mine, he roared through the chaos. The bleeding bull thrashed in a blind rage. Sam gritted his teeth, holding on. He had to handle this. From afar, Huangsu spotted the herd veering east. Stonebone signaled Sam, who realized they'd lost the trail. He yanked the bull right, forcing a westward stampede. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to Chen's hideout, where the Coconut Grove maidens feasted in peace. Amidst the laughter, Chen waited for his cue. Suddenly, a Coconut Grove sentry bolted toward the den. Spotting her frantic state, Lisa demanded an explanation. Weeping, the girl choked out that crazed black bulls had invaded, smashing everything in their path, and their guards were helpless. Lisa leaped up, commanding an immediate retreat to their home base, vowing those beasts would pay. Yet deep down, she was visibly rattled. They'd always avoided the black bulls, so why this sudden aggression? At the camp, the girls struggled. Their slingshots did nothing but annoy the monsters, forcing the warriors into a desperate melee to rescue their trapped sisters. But as one warrior dove in, a bull nearly gored her again. Suddenly, Lisa appeared, her whip, lashing out to snare the beast's leg. Hope flared in everyone's eyes. Lisa roared at the monsters for harming her kin. She floored one, but the nightmare wasn't over. It scrambled up and charged, launching Lisa through the air while her whip flew from her grasp. Chen swept in, catching her mid-air. He checked her vitals, but a frustrated Lisa stood her ground, claiming she was okay. She was just baffled by the sudden raid. Watching nearby Huangsu, Samlu Tang and Stone Bone hid their faces in shame. Chen then fixed his icy glare on the bulls, asking if they'd forgotten the pain of their past wounds. The beasts roared, advancing as Chen braced himself. Was his Black Bull King hide cloak not scary enough? Fortunately, the lead bull began to retreat. Chen mocked the herd's new leader, claiming this boss looked pathetic compared to the previous one, and decided it was time to stay for good. Chen's clan charged as Stone Bone, signaled Sam to target the leader. Backed by Stone Bone, Sam leaped onto the beast's back, fighting to break its spirit and ride it. Chen noted Sam's natural talent for taming. While his crew handled the herd, he urged Lisa to flee, but she stood firm, insisting the threat wasn't over. Chen blocked her path, warning that these monsters were beyond her skill level. Their numbers were too low for a frontal assault. Silence fell as Lisa realized he was right. Chen pressured her again to relocate her tribe to his sanctuary, where they could finally heal, and plot their eventual return. He offered them safety, sustenance, and a fortified home. Ayu chimed in, pointing out the battered state of their sisters. They were clearly unfit for battle. Did she want to see them die? Finally, Lisa ordered a northern retreat to Chen's territory to save the wounded. A girl named Ayu bristled at the command but bowed to her queen, directing the injured to follow. Chen appointed Ayu to lead the escort for the Coconut Grove survivors. She nodded, and they departed. As the battle raged, Ayu dove into the fray. Stonebone teased her to retreat if her heart faltered, claiming they had everything under control. Ayu ignored the banter, slashing at the bulls with pure focus. Chen told Stonebone to focus on victory, respecting the girl's bravery. As dusk settled over the land, the survivors reached Chen's camp. Maya greeted them with a warm smile, relieved to see them alive. She inquired about Chen's group, but Ayu explained they were still holding the line to buy time, while the wounded were evacuated. Maya offered the newcomers shelter in their freshly built cabins. She breathed a sigh of relief knowing that Mia's hard work, despite her wounds, saved the day. Without those completed houses, the refugees would have been left out in the cold. Ayu informed Lisa that everyone was settled. With bellies full and roofs overhead, their worries could end. She urged the queen to rest, receiving a soft thanks. Ayu felt the tension leave her body. Chen's words echoed in her mind. This entire scheme was designed to absorb the Coconut Grove clan, with minimal bloodshed as their own forces were too depleted for another brutal war. Only the endgame remained. By morning, Mia turned to Heizu Zhao with a burning question, asking if the night passed peacefully. He confirmed that his all-night vigil was entirely uneventful. While guarding Lisa's quarters, Ayu felt an imposing shadow. Looking up, she saw Mia approaching her. Ayu cut to the chase, demanding answers. Mia revealed the king's summons Lisa was needed at the palace for an urgent parley. Cut to Chen deep in his system menus and stat screens until Lisa's sudden arrival broke his focus. Lisa dropped the hammer. Ayu briefed her on the merger, but the answer was a hard pass. She wasn't having it. Don't mistake our temporary setback for weakness, she hissed, warning Chen that the Coconut Grove clan wouldn't be bullied. Chen stayed cool. This wasn't a threat, it was a god-tier trade. Architecture, advanced weaponry, and the secret of fire were all on the table. The price: total unification. He extended the offer again, merge with his tribe and thrive under his absolute protection. Closing the distance, Chen whispered that bravery was a death sentence without power. Had she already forgotten the Bei clan's savagery? She more than anyone understood the terrifying might the giant stone clan wielded against their enemies. You're a wounded fawn, he warned, and the predators are already catching the scent of your blood. Enough, Lisa snapped, her frustration peaking. She knew the stakes, but leading her people wasn't that black and white. Forcing her warriors to bow was impossible. She challenged him. Was he actually prepared to handle the fallout of his demands? A confident smirk played on Chen's lips as he accepted. Stepping outside, he faced the assembled Coconut Grove warriors. Since their queen was too injured to duel, Chen declared he'd bench himself too, keeping the battlefield level. He tapped Stonebone to sub in. The brute let out a booming laugh, taunting anyone brave enough to step up. Ayun didn't hesitate stepping into the ring. Stonebone grinned wickedly, telling her to try not to break too easily. Watch my eagle strike, she barked. The duel exploded into motion as Ayun launched a lethal bone knife straight at him. His laughter died instantly. If he sidestepped the blade, Chen standing directly behind him would be the one catching the steel. Stonebone parried with his axe, but a follow-up knife bypassed his guard, sparks flying as it grazed his helmet. The scratch was minor, but his ego was bruised. Roaring in fury, Stonebone charged like a juggernaut. Ayun was reeling until a rogue Coconut Grove girl intervened, hurling a projectile that slammed into Stonebone's visor. Seizing the opening, Ayun swept his legs. Stonebone crashed down, howling about the blatant ambush and the rigged duel. But Ayun wasn't done. She lunged from the dirt knife aimed at Chen's throat. Chen didn't even blink. His ace in the hole. Huang. She was watching. From the palace rooftop, a spear whistled through the air toward Ayun. The impact sent Ayun sprawling. Instantly, her sisters swarmed her, their screams of rage directed squarely at Chen. Cheater, traitor, they screamed, claiming the whole summit was a setup. Both warriors tensed, ready for a bloodbath. Tensions hit a boiling point. The girls pleaded for Lisa's command, boasting they could massacre everyone in the vicinity. Chen's nerves frayed. This assassination attempt was a wild card. Were they trying to bait him into an all-out war? If Lisa was behind this treachery, he'd have no choice. He'd use the queen herself as a human shield. Shockingly, Lisa's voice cut through the chaos. "Stop this at once," she bellowed, shaming them for their transparent, cowardly tactics. She wouldn't stand by while the very allies who saved them were stabbed in the back like this. She'd forego a witch hunt for the conspirators, but the verdict was final. They had lost the duel. Turning to Chen, she explained that Ayun was the beating heart and soul of the Coconut Grove's loyalty. Ayun only abandoned her pride because she feared for her queen. Lisa acknowledged Chen's almost supernatural prowess. His skills were godlike, so she begged for mercy. Could he find it in his heart to spare Ayun? In exchange, he'd earn their eternal gratitude. Chen kept a poker face, but inside he breathed a massive sigh. Crisis averted. He was back in the driver's seat with total leverage over the situation. Remembering his healing ointment, he reassured Lisa. Death wouldn't be claiming Ayun today. "We're brothers in arms now," he said. But the girls panicked, screaming that Ayun's life was slipping away fast. Moving to assist, Chen decided to bury the hatchet regarding her murder attempt, at least for the bigger picture. Still, actions have consequences. He applied just enough medicine to stabilize her, making sure she felt the sting. He hoarded the rest for himself. Once she was out of the red, he ordered them to take her back. "She'll bounce back in days," he promised. The girls were awestruck, convinced they were witnessing a literal miracle. Chen pulled Lisa close, sealing the deal. With a blush and a joyful heart, she finally said yes. She'd keep her command, provided his word was law. But Lisa had one final shocking request for him. She wanted him as her partner, official ceremony and all. Hearing that, Chen's face lit up with pure delight. To him, it felt like hitting the jackpot. Chen envisioned a perfect wedding, a cozy honeymoon, and raising a daughter together, growing old together and sharing a final sunset before the afterlife. But noticing Chen's weird facial expressions, Lisa nervously questioned him. Was he backing out? Chen instantly reassured her he was all in for the ceremony, and swept her into a fierce embrace. He then urged her to recover while he handled the ritual preparations. He dismissed the group to rest for a few days before the big event. Suddenly, a system notification pinged. His official tribe was established. Now he needed a name. Squinting at the interface, Chen saw only 46 members, 4 short of his goal. He dubbed them the Newbie Tribe for now. He plotted his next move against the Bei clan, debating whether to take prisoners to boost his numbers. Still, he doubted if captives would count toward the population. That is when he caught the Coconut Grove girls whispering. They missed his smile, fearing he would face the same fate as previous consorts. Shredded and devoured during the ceremony, Chen froze his blood, turning to ice. A man-eating queen. That explained why her clan was almost entirely female. Suddenly, a figure loomed behind him. Chen yelped, begging for mercy, until Mia revealed herself confused by his terror. Shaken, Chen snapped at her. Mia shot back, asking if he truly wanted to pair up with that rude Lisa. Chen admitted he had been too impulsive, and needed to reconsider. Mia's eyes lit up with hope. He expected a bride, not a literal praying mantis. Mia started to celebrate his change of heart, until Ayu scolded her for sneaking out. Mia blushed, confessing she just wanted to be near Chen. He sighed, needing space, and suggested the girls help fortify the camp if they were up for it. Ayu led Mia away, but the girl kept pleading for Chen to choose her over the scary queen. Chen decided a serious talk with Lisa was mandatory. By morning, the camp was buzzing with unexpected harmony. Even the newcomers were pitching in. Chen headed toward the temporary shelters in the farming sector. There, Ayun greeted him, asking if he was searching for her queen. She pointed toward the river. Ayun announced the king's arrival, and Lisa promptly cleared the area. Once private, Lisa asked if there was an emergency. Chen played it cool, saying no. He just wanted to check her progress. Lisa promised a full recovery within 2 or 3 days. Then she teased, asking if he wanted to start their romance early. Chen declined and asked her name. "Call me Lisa," she said. It was a name from the former queen, unused since her exile. Chen's anxiety spiked. Exile or obedience. He might as well call them the Praying Mantis clan. He tentatively asked about the former queen's partners. What exactly happened to them? Lisa's answer was chilling. They were all eaten. Traditionally, queens consumed their mates to absorb their power. Chen panicked until Lisa clarified that was an outdated custom she had zero interest in following. Relieved, Chen wiped his brow and asked if she had ever, tasted a man. Lisa laughed. She was a new queen and had never even had a partner yet. Chen bid her farewell to prepare for the ritual. Walking back, he weighed his options. If death was not on the menu, maybe he would stick with Lisa. Suddenly, she yelled a final warning. Betray her, and she would punish him severely. Later, Chen surveyed his thriving settlement, lost in thought. Only 7 days remained for his mission. He needed more people, and he needed them fast. Chen tasked Stonebone with managing the camp while he headed south to secure some prisoners. He ordered Stonebone to send word to the southern beach if any crisis arose during his absence. Upon reaching the coast, Chen froze. The scene before him was an absolute nightmare. Was the Bay clan annihilated? Dodo birds pecked at corpses, suggesting the immediate danger had passed. The bodies were fresh, showing no signs of rot. The massacre was extremely recent. Their sharp claws were stained with blood, and the wounds matched their own lethal talons. Had the water lunatics turned on each other in a fit of savage rage? Finding survivors was now a desperate race. Nearby, a body lay twisted in a silent, agonizing scream. Just as Chen's mind raced for answers, Sam materialized from thin air. With Sam screaming about Bai clan invaders trashing their home, Chen sprinted back. At the base, Stonebone barked for everyone to hold rank and prepare for melee. Wooden spears flew, but those Bai clan psychos tanked every hit while closing the gap. Stonebone roared for calm, demanding they scrap hard while staying far from the water. Getting dragged meant certain death. The maniacs charged, but a hail of stones broke them. Suddenly, Queen Lisa's reinforcements arrived. She demanded to know if these were Bai clan enemies. Why were Southern Edge warriors raiding their home? Stonebone had absolutely no answers. These savages surged from South River, storming the base. Both sides collided in total carnage. Lisa dove into the fray, attempting to reason with the Bai fighters, but they stayed silent. Something was clearly wrong. As she traded blows, a massive brute lunged for an ambush. Chen intervened with a heavy strike, but the monster tanked it effortlessly, leaving him stunned. 2 more tried to jump Chen, but Huang Shuai and Lan Guokui intercepted with fury. Dropping them cold, they warned the Bai clan they'd have to go through them first. Chen barked approval, ordering them to clear the mobs while asking Lisa to cover his people. He needed total focus for this beast. Lisa agreed instantly and charged into the mess. Chen trusted his crew while he faced the big guy, admitting he knew nothing of their beef. Whatever broke the Bai clan wasn't their fault. These lunatics were clearly hitting the wrong target. The beast ignored him and lunged. Tensing up, Chen yelled, asking if it had gone mute. Shocked by its insane power, he wondered how to even counter this level of raw strength. He felt like a glass cannon here. With allies nearby, he couldn't risk his secret skill. Overthinking cost him. He missed a beat, and the psycho clamped its teeth onto his hand. He jerked back just in time. The Bull King's cloak tanked the bite instead of his flesh. Furious, the beast charged again. Chen barely slipped away, but his cloak was torn away. Chen froze. How was it so fast? If he hadn't ditched that cloak, he'd be a corpse. Then the monster suddenly stalled. It froze for a second before slowly backing away. Something was weird. The brute only cared about the blood-drenched part of the fabric. He saw Agun being swarmed by enemies. Suddenly, the pieces finally clicked for Chen. These freaks were scent-tracking blood. They were running on nothing but pure feral instinct. Chen knew how to weaponize this. Right then, Sam returned ready for new orders. Chen ordered him to grab 2 guys and 3 boar cubs. Sam looked totally bewildered. Those were for emergencies. Chen snapped at him to just move his rage, silently simmering. The Bai clan was making him waste precious resources. He'd definitely make them pay. He told Lisa to evacuate the injured. Moments later, Sam arrived with the sacrifice. Chen ordered them released toward the water. The terrified boars bolted for their lives instantly. Huang Shuai was ready, spear in hand. The moment blood spilled, every single psycho turned. They swarmed, tearing the cubs apart. Chen ordered the squad to coat their spears, use the paralysis drug, and avoid vitals. Then Huang Shuai noticed something unexpected. The Bai psychos were already. The madness wasn't over. Chen watched in horror as the crazed warriors began to convulse their bodies, hitting the dirt one by one. Fuming, Chen accused Sam of poisoning the captives, but the denial only spiked his suspicion. Something far more sinister was at play. "Stay back," Ken barked, keeping his guard up. The bizarre behavior of the Bay clan was a riddle he couldn't yet solve. The mystery deepened. Later, the entire Bay clan found themselves behind bars in the farming district, trapped like wild animals. Ayu kept the guards on high alert, eyes peeled for any movement. As the captives finally regained consciousness, the atmosphere grew tense. Desperate pleas for mercy echoed through the air. Ayu summoned King Chen immediately, who arrived on the scene, demanding an update. The prisoners were parched, crying out for even a drop of water. Chen ignored the chaos, searching for the leader, Hector. Ayu pointed toward a solitary cage where the fallen chief was being held. Chen approached the bars, his gaze cold and calculating. Even the mighty Hector was reduced to begging for a drink. Chen emptied a bottle over him to snap him back to reality. Once Hector nodded in understanding, Chen let Ayu take the lead. She offered him a gourd, letting the water flow freely. "Drink your fill," she urged. But Hector's first thought was for his tribe, pleading with Chen to show his people mercy. Ayu promised relief for all, but there was a price information. Hector bristled, his voice laced with sudden, sharp aggression. He snarled, asking why they were being slaughtered. He'd heard rumors about the Giant Stone Clan's insanity, but this was next level. You think we're the Giant Stone Clan? Ayu questioned. Hector's face drained of color as the realization hit him like a physical blow. Hector stammered that Tor had misled him about their identity. Ayu set the record straight. They were the rising newbie tribe, with Chen as their sovereign. Hector was baffled. He assumed only the Giant Stone Clan could hold power in these brutal lands. Ayu shut down his delusions. Hector was a prisoner because he invaded their territory, and the newbie clan owed no one anything. They had zero ties to the Giant Stone Clan. It was the Bay clan who had attacked like mindless, rabid monsters. Hector's mind was a blank slate regarding the assault. Sensing a gap, Ayu pressed him to recount his very last clear memory. He recalled their peaceful days at Southfish filled with tribal games. Everything changed when a terrified child came screaming for help. The boy wailed about a stolen dodo bird. Hector initially brushed it off, telling the kid to toughen up and reclaim his prize. He assumed it was just local bullies, but the child's eyes were wide with terror. It was the freaks, the boy sobbed. Hector looked up to see the Giant Stone Clan encroaching. He roared, demanding to know why these invaders dared step on his soil. Their leader offered no words, only a cold command to kill. Hector stood frozen as a sudden brutal ambush shattered the peace. The motive remained a mystery. Hector was bludgeoned into darkness only to wake up staring at the newbie tribe's cage bars. Chen dropped a bombshell. He had seen the aftermath at Hector's village. There were no survivors left behind those scorched walls. Only the prisoners here remained. If Chen hadn't shown mercy, the Bay clan's entire lineage would have been wiped from history. The weight of his failure broke Hector's spirit. As he slumped in despair, a strange object slipped from his tattered clothing. Ayu retrieved the mysterious leaf and handed it to Chen. His system interface flashed. It was industrial hemp, a potent hallucinogen. This herb could numb pain while twisting the mind into a frenzy. Chen's blood ran cold as the pieces began to fit. Was the Giant Stone Clan using drugs to wage war? As his people hydrated the prisoners, Chen's mind raced with dark possibilities. He checked the other captives and found the same damning evidence. Every single warrior was carrying that cursed leaf. He recalled Sam's warnings about the Giant Stone leader's godlike abilities. It wasn't divinity, it was chemical warfare. This wasn't the work of a god, but a demon. The hemp had turned these men into mindless, aggressive husks. It wasn't just madness, it was a setup. The Giant Stone Clan had weaponized the Bay Clan's frenzy for a specific purpose. Their suicidal charge into newbie territory was no accident. It was a calculated strike designed to test their defenses. If they were being used as fodder, it meant the newbie tribe was already a target. Even a powerhouse like Hector was a puppet. Hector's fall proved that the Giant Stone Clan possessed a terrifying unseen influence. They were playing a much bigger game. Chen glanced at his status screen. 3 strength points felt pitifully low against the storm that was brewing on the horizon. He had to grind and power up before the true monsters arrived. Ayu interrupted his thoughts, fearing Hector was losing his mind. If Hector broke, their only source of intel would vanish. But Chen knew they were out of time for gentle recoveries. The threat is already here, Chen muttered. Ayu's eyes widened as she grasped the gravity of his words. Was their home already in the crosshairs? Chen couldn't explain the system yet, but his gut told him an invasion was coming. The Giant Stone Clan used those leaves to manufacture chaos. With the future uncertain, they needed to crack Hector's memory now. They had to trigger his recollections before it was too late. Chen then turned to Stone Bone, telling him to drop the guilt. Inhale the hemp's lethal fumes, and even the strongest warrior becomes a helpless puppet. Chen brandished the leaf, demanding Hector's attention. One glance was all it took for Hector's eyes to widen. A haunting familiarity struck him. That sickening stench had lingered in the air during their bloody clash with those savages. Masked by the copper tang of blood back then, he only remembered it as a foul, piercing rot. Chen's jaw tightened. If the Giant Stone Clan weaponized nature, he needed to decode every toxin before launching a counterstrike. Hector questioned if King Chen truly planned to hunt the giants. The Bay Clan demanded blood. Failure to avenge his fallen kin would haunt Hector's soul until his dying breath. A chorus of rage erupted as the surviving Bay members screamed for vengeance. They'd sacrifice everything for payback. Chen noted his main quest was nearly filled. Only a few slots remained. Just 4 more recruits to go. Suddenly, Hector interrupted, offering a unique tactical advantage. Their superhuman senses could sniff out and track those lethal plants, a massive win for Chen's intel. But that's a double-edged sword. Their hypersensitivity to the smell of slaughter was a liability. If the Bay Clan snapped again, it would be a total bloodbath. Hector roared that without the toxic fog, they were masters of their own minds. With clear heads, they'd be unstoppable. Chen agreed the Giant Stone Clan was the true cancer here. But what if the smoke returned mid-battle? Hector's voice turned somber. They'd have no choice but to retreat. They wouldn't risk another massacre. Chen cautioned that while revenge tastes sweet, raw fury won't win this war. He warned that Tor might object. Hector countered firmly. They were the final remnants of a dying lineage. Secure their vengeance and their lives belonged to Chen. Chen offered a deal, swear eternal loyalty to the newbie clan. Do that and their enemies were as good as dead. But he set one cold, hard condition. Not everyone gets a front row seat to the slaughter. Chen stared Hector down, waiting for his answer. The Bei clan roared their acceptance in unison. Just as Chen turned to depart, Hector's voice rang out. Chen got the message. He ordered Ayu and Ayun to break the chains. They were brothers in arms now. Ding mission complete. The system showered him with 3 attribute points, a massive supply crate, and a rare heritage plaque. For beating the clock in under 7 days, he scored a bonus gift. Finally, the pressure evaporated. He dumped every point into raw strength. Instantly, an explosive tidal wave of power rocked his entire being. Primal energy surged through his veins. As the dust settled, he noticed his hair had lengthened, a strange side effect of his evolution. Rewards time. Inside the chest sat 1 whole ton of hematite. Chen's heart raced. They were skipping the Bronze Age and diving straight into the era of iron. He cracked open the bonus pack, praying for RNG luck. Jackpot, 3 jars of high-grade healing ointment. This haul destroyed his previous rewards. Now it was time to reveal the mysterious heritage plaque. A civilization item. He burned 10 tech points without a second thought to identify the treasure. Identification complete the plaque of modesty. This was a massive leap for their primitive society's culture. It was the foundation of a true civilization, and Chen had one specific reason to celebrate. Finally, no more mixed-gender bathing. There was no way he was letting other guys catch a glimpse of Lisa. Back to business. How to crush the giant stone clan. Right on cue, Ayu approached. She froze, gawking at Chen's transformed physique. He was towering, shredded, and imposing. He ignored her stare, cutting straight to the point. Ayu hesitantly suggested a diplomatic approach with the giants. She hoped to clear the air, but Chen knew better. There was no misunderstanding here. The giants had already marked them for extinction. They were the most calculating predators the newbie clan had ever encountered. Masters of manipulation who thrive on chaos and betrayal. Trembling with anxiety, Ayu asked for the plan. Chen's strategy: fortify the walls and stockpile every scrap of food. We lie low and play dead until we're strong enough to bite back. We hide our fangs in the shadows. Patience was their greatest weapon. Ayu then pivoted to the 22 new recruits. Chen divided the Bei survivors into 3 specialized squads: construction, foraging, and the trap unit. At the word traps, Ayu's face went blank. Chen just smirked and prepared to school her in the art of war. Chen declared these traps would be their ultimate shield, turning their land into an impenetrable fortress. This upgrade gave the tribe god-tier defense. Then he dropped a new high-stakes mission for Ayu. With so many new recruits, they needed a sustainable food source instead of wasting leftover meat. He ordered everyone to master jerky making first. Just then, Stonebone arrived, gawking at Chen's massive physique. Chen told him to stop staring and focus. He commanded Stonebone to begin planting lethal traps. They would turn the dense mountain forests into a minefield. Chen had already handpicked a specialized squad. He'd personally demonstrate the first design, but warned that building them was the easy part. The real challenge was memorizing every single kill zone. Stonebone's face fell. This job sounded like a drag. Chen tapped his helmet, reminding him that being the human map made him the most important man. This mission was strictly top secret. Only Chen and Stonebone would hold the keys to this maze. He ordered Stonebone to rotate workers constantly, so no one could learn the full defensive layout. If even one rat leaked their secrets, the entire tribe would face a total wipeout. Once finished, Stonebone had to report every coordinate. Chen instantly erased his sketches, forbidding any drawings. Every lethal detail had to be burned directly into Stonebone's brain. No paper trails allowed. Stonebone admitted it was a nightmare task, but swore to deliver. Chen nodded, granting him rest. Operation Night Ops would begin at sunset. Meanwhile, Chen placed the Sense of Modesty plaque outside. He wanted every passerby to feel its aura. Then he informed Leng Guochui he was heading in. He needed some shut-eye before the night grind. He gave strict orders: wake him only for absolute emergencies. Inside, Chen stared at the ceiling, wondering if time was finally running out on their preparations. The to-do list was insane: training elite squads, fortifying the base, and organizing tight security patrols. Between tech upgrades and land expansion, the work felt endless, but he finally drifted into sleep. Suddenly, he woke up in a neon-lit bar surrounded by stunning girls and flowing drinks. The beauties introduced themselves as Xiao Yao Lily and Tita Dan. Chen was absolutely vibing. Thinking he'd just had one too many, he celebrated his return to the modern world's comfort. The brutal wild felt like a distant memory until Xiao Yao whispered it was time to work. Chen groaned in protest, but then she dropped a bombshell: she wasn't actually Xiao Yao at all. Her voice shifted into Stonebone's. Chen bolted upright, screaming as reality shattered his peaceful dream. Fuming, he demanded to know why Stonebone was lurking in his room at night. Apparently a sleepy Chen had started flirting with him. As Chen stood frozen, Leng Guochui intervened. They laughed off the awkwardness and got to business. Soon, Chen was leading the training session. He started with the basics, the spike pit. Since their enemies were massive, these traps needed scale. Size mattered here. These pits needed to be deep enough to swallow monsters. He then demonstrated camouflage. Pro tip: combine these pits with tripwires for a lethal combo that no one could ever escape. He suggested that Huang Shi could take over and teach some alternative high-level trap designs. Huang Shi looked totally lost, claiming he knew zero about traps. But Chen had a plan. Swap that heavy log for a sturdy net, add a trigger, and boom, you've got a trap. Leaving the crew to their work, Chen slipped away desperately, hoping to find that dream bar again. But back at the base, the silence was eerie. The usual morning hustle was completely gone. He went to investigate, but when he approached the women's quarters, they shrieked for him to stay out. Their tone was dead serious. Something was definitely wrong with the tribe's female population. They were stuck inside, half naked. It hit him, the sense of modesty plaque was working too well. Closing the door, he gave them a deadline they had until noon to craft some proper outfits. Fail to show up and he'd get strict. Even Chen was stunned by the plaque's overwhelming power. Suddenly, Stonebone came sprinting toward him, his voice echoing with pure, unbridled excitement. Stonebone shouted the news they had finally discovered a massive vein of flint. A legendary find. He revealed that flint unlocked infinite potential, since one hard strike birthed life-saving sparks. Chen and Stonebone dashed to the discovery site. Reaching the clearing, Stonebone gestured and declared. They began excavating the area. One glance told Chen the truth. This flint deposit was depressingly small. This wasn't some barren wasteland. If this flint was natural, only one chilling possibility remained. He ordered Stonebone to scan the ground. Stonebone agreed, noting this specific patch felt unusually soft. Strange objects were buried here, definitely not rocks. Then Stonebone did the unthinkable. He tasted it. Instant regret. It was literal dung, leaving him gagging. While Stonebone recoiled in disgust, Chen had already deduced a massive manure pit lay beneath them. He was utterly floored. Did some ancient tribe once thrive here? Had they actually developed primitive sanitation systems? Or was this the giant stone clan's former lair? Chen ordered the flint seized and the site scrubbed clean. He commanded new traps, high-ground beacon towers, and a relentless rotating guard schedule to be established. Stonebone stood frozen, finally stammering beacons towers. He had no clue what Chen meant. 4 days flew by. Chen surveyed his territory, admiring the cluster of newly constructed homes. This was his first taste of true peace, until Mia charged him, nearly scaring the soul out of him. He desperately yelled for Lang Guochui's help, but Mia's full-throttle hug slammed into him like a truck. The impact leveled a nearby house. A frantic Lang Guochui checked on Chen, ordering Mia to back off. Seeing him dazed, Mia squeezed tighter, sobbing for him not to die right after their hard work. They couldn't lose their leader now. Wincing, Chen ended the chaos and asked if the construction was truly complete. Beaming, she reported 10 houses in 2 perfect rows, space for 50. Chen smiled, rewarding her with a head pat. After scolding her recklessness and assigning her house repairs, he headed off to inspect their precious food supplies. At the river, the Bei clan was hauling in a massive catch, while Ayu and her crew assisted. They were busy sun-drying the fish. Chen realized that while digging traps was hard, this was their true calling. The Bei clan were absolute naturals in the water. Thanks to their expertise, the tribe's future looked bright. Food was finally plentiful and diverse. Lang Guochui couldn't help but marvel at Chen's visionary leadership. Their lives felt truly prosperous now. Yet Chen remained pensive, haunted by the choices he'd made to get here. He questioned his ruthless subduing of the Coconut Grove clan, but Lang Guochui urged him to stop doubting. Chen's commands were their absolute law. To the tribe, their leader's actions were beyond reproach or question. In this brutal world, only the apex survive. Tribes vanish daily in the never-ending cycle of prehistoric war. Victory with minimal bloodshed was the ultimate mercy. Chen smirked, realizing his general had finally seen the light. Lang Guochui finally possessed the cold-blooded resolve necessary for the arduous journey that lay ahead. Chen then moved to inspect the borders, sensing the Bei tribe still held secrets like those mysterious aquatic warriors. The frogmen were a wild card. Nearby, Stonebone's crew toiled away on the sophisticated trap systems. Chen arrived to check their progress. Stonebone reported that every trap and tower followed his blueprints exactly. The north, south, and west beacons were fully operational, but a massive problem was still brewing. Staffing the towers had drained their manpower. To stay on schedule, they were working themselves to the bone. They were grinding from dawn until dusk. Recognizing the strain, Chen made a sudden executive call. He and Lang Guochui would join the laborers immediately. Stonebone tried to protest, but it was futile. Every second was a gamble. Chen couldn't shake the feeling that the giant stone clan once claimed this land. If they knew these mountains better than him, an ambush while they were vulnerable would be a total catastrophe. The next assault would be devastating. That night, as the tribe toiled under the stars, Chen felt a chill. He peered toward the western tower, a dark premonition gnawing at his gut. Was he just being paranoid? Suddenly, blood-curdling screams pierced the air from the south tower. Chen spun around, heart hammering against his ribs. The distress signal flared. "Move out," Chen roared. "The south tower is being overrun." Chen bolted southward, mind racing. Even with his boosted agility and knowledge of the terrain, time was slipping away. The 5-minute sprint felt like an eternity. As he raced toward the chaos, all he could do was pray. 5 minutes of eerie silence hung over the south tower. On patrol, Huang Shuo's instincts suddenly flared. Something was definitely wrong. The perimeter traps had been tripped. He couldn't fathom how the enemy had infiltrated so deeply, but a dark thought crossed his mind. Perhaps another squad spotted the signal fire and was using the chaos as cover. Refusing to be a sitting duck, he decided to strike. He hunted the intruder through the brush. Spotting movement, Huang Shuo lunged forward, thrusting his spear with lethal, bone-chilling intent. But his foe was a powerhouse, parrying the strike effortlessly. To his horror, the shadow launched a relentless high-speed counterattack. Panic surged as Huang Shuo barely raised his guard in time. He was seconds from disaster when the attacker suddenly halted. The mystery warrior was Chen breathless, and stunned Huang Shuo demanded to know why he was lurking on the southern perimeter. "No time for talk," Chen barked, his eyes sharp. He needed the exact location where the perimeter traps had been triggered. Huang pointed toward the site, mentioning he'd lit the signal beacon. Chen ordered him to wait and regroup with the others. "Lead them here safely," Chen commanded before vanishing. Reaching the trap site, he scanned the area but sensed zero presence nearby. The stillness was unsettling. This was no wild beast. Since there were no screams for help, his suspicion began to skyrocket. Was the intruder playing dead or out cold? Chen peered into the pit and froze. It was Lisa trapped down there. "What are you doing here?" he hissed, reminding her she should be on bed rest. Lisa shot back with a fierce glare. She snapped, asking why he was interrogating her instead of helping. Chen just smirked and started teasingly tickling her feet. An enraged Lisa demanded her freedom immediately. Suddenly, the sounds of Huang Shuo and the search party echoed nearby. "If anyone sees me like this, you're dead," she hissed. Chen's expression shifted as he signaled her to keep quiet. "Stop right there," Chen bellowed to the group. "It's a death trap. One more step, and you're all finished." Stonebone looked baffled. Had Chen stumbled into a deadly ambush? He wondered if they should charge in for a rescue. "Hold up, Huang," Shuo countered. Chen didn't sound like he was in trouble. He sounded like he was hiding something spicy. Stonebone grumbled about Chen's odd behavior. Even the tribe's women had been acting strange and avoidant during their baths lately. The whole vibe was just off. Meanwhile, Chen hauled Lisa out of the hole, unable to suppress a mischievous, triumphant laugh. "I never thought the great Lisa would fall for a basic trap," he joked. "At least we know our defenses work." Lisa let out a dry laugh, impressed by his twisted ingenuity. Then Chen's tone turned serious as he questioned her presence. Why was she lurking in the dark? Lisa revealed she'd eavesdropped on a suspicious conversation within the Bay tribe earlier. Two clansmen were desperately craving fresh seafood from the coast to boost their strength for the grueling labor ahead. But a bloodthirsty pack of hyenas had completely cut off the coastal route, turning the path into a literal suicide mission. Risking their lives wasn't an option for them. That's why Lisa had ventured out alone to scout a safer path through the night. Chen frowned. That road was clear just 5 days ago. He suspected a mole from the Bay clan had lured the pack. Someone was playing a dangerous game. Lisa's eyes darkened with cold intent. She suggested a swift execution for the entire Bay clan. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Chen replied. He wasn't looking for blood, but rather identifying their fatal security gaps. They needed tighter patrols. More importantly, they had to reclaim that coastal road and neutralize the hyena threat immediately. Seafood was just a bonus. The real prizes were the dodo birds and eggs. Survival required those vital resources. He also planned to establish a salt field. The decision was final. At daybreak, they would go on a hyena hunt. Lisa volunteered for sentry duty, but warned him. Was expanding their territory and hunting those beasts really a wise move? Chen smirked. "Are you worried about me?" Flustered, Lisa snapped at him to stop being so full of himself. Their numbers were thin. Trying to defend 2 separate fronts simultaneously was a recipe for a total bloody massacre. She reminded him of the Giant Stone clan's previous raid. If they returned now, the beach would be a sitting duck. "That's exactly why it's safe," Chen countered. He envisioned a strategic triangle between their main camp and the shore. By connecting their base with the beach outpost, they could effectively outmaneuver the Giant Stone clan on the southwest mountain. Seamless communication and supply lines meant both outposts could support each other. It was a masterstroke of tactical genius. Lisa didn't fully grasp the complex strategy, but she trusted his lead. Later, Chen and Hector set out toward the danger. Accompanied by Leng Guichuai and some Bay clan members, they trekked to the site where the beasts were last spotted. "You sure about this, kid?" Hector asked, sniffing the air. "No blood, no scent." But the child didn't blink. He'd seen the pack 2 days ago. Suddenly, a snarling hyena lunged from the brush. Hector's reflexes were lightning fast. He swatted the beast aside and snatched the kid. But the nightmare was just beginning. A sea of yellow eyes surrounded them. Leng Guochui urged caution, but Chen merely smirked. With the elite Bai clan backing them, these wild dogs were just target practice. Hector split the offensive, claiming the right flank while Chen took the left. Chaos erupted as the Bai warriors carved through the hyena pack like butter. It was the ultimate litmus test for the new blood. Suddenly, a snarling beast lunged straight for Chen's throat. Without breaking a sweat, he caught the monster mid-air by its neck. In a heartbeat, the entire pack was slaughtered. Hector huffed, complaining the skirmish was way too easy. Chen just shook it off, ordering the unit to press forward. Deep in the wilds, Hector noted these were his old stomping grounds. Upon arrival, Chen gestured toward the towering precipice. "This is our new stronghold," he declared. The outpost needed to hug the cliffside, spacious enough for a 20-man garrison. A beacon tower would crown the peak. Next on the list, a strategic salt field right next to the base. He promised Hector reinforcements but dropped a bombshell. The entire project had a strict 4-day deadline. Chen felt like a high-end contractor surveying a site, ironic, considering he was the one doing the heavy lifting. "Light the signal fire the second things get dicey," he commanded. Fast forward 3 days into the future. Chen perfected a new wooden bow, banking 5 technology points. Suddenly, IU arrived with news. Sam was back from the scout. Chen didn't waste time asking if they'd found any tribes to recruit or crush. Sam reported a day's journey into the void, no humans, just a chilling lake and a massive snow-veiled peak. A mysterious shadow lurked in the depths. Before Sam could blink, the beast submerged and disappeared into the abyss. The mountain loomed ahead like a tomb, so Sam retreated. Chen chuckled, giving his scout a well-earned pat on the back. Chen teased him about being scared of a hill, but a shivering Sam insisted the mountain was the real nightmare. "Haven't you heard the legends?" Sam whispered. As Chen questioned the hype, Ayu suddenly clung to him in a panic. Trembling, she confessed her fear. It wasn't just the cold or the height that terrified her. It was something much worse. "There's a giant beyond those peaks," she whimpered. Chen held her close, promising that nothing would touch her, while he stood guard. Ding, a system alert flashed. "Locate the giant. Reward, 1 precious attribute point." Chen was floored. A whole point just for a sighting. He almost died fighting a saber-toothed tiger for only double that. He figured it was just some massive humanoid. As long as he stayed downwind, it should be a walk in the park. Right. If these titans had their own civilization, they could become the ultimate power move, allies of the tribe. But he couldn't be reckless. One slip-up would doom them all. Still, he couldn't leave the scouting to anyone else. He wasn't going to let Sam and Ayu walk into a death trap alone. "Go rest, Sam. The feast starts in 2 days." Sam breathed a massive sigh of relief, thanking the heavens he wouldn't have to face that monster again so soon. Ayu pointed out Sam's jitters, but Chen sensed it was something deeper than just simple cowardice. Sam possessed a primal survival instinct, a spider sense for danger that kept him breathing in this brutal world. Shifting gears, Chen checked the status of the partner ceremony. Ayu confirmed everything was locked and loaded. "Prep supplies for a squad of 4, he ordered. He was leading this expedition personally. Ayu grew pale, worrying about the risk, but Chen played it cool, claiming it was just a routine scout. He requested rations, water, and furs, making sure to send his thanks to Skinny for the custom gear. When Ayu asked about the timeline, Chen decided they'd head out right after the big celebration. 2 days later, Chen unveiled his newest creation, a sturdy shield crafted from reinforced timber and thick hide. It was surprisingly lightweight, a must-have upgrade for the entire squad. Suddenly, Ayu entered the room. It was time to don his ceremonial robes. As he stepped into the light, a roar of cheers erupted from the tribe. Looking around, Chen realized this partner ceremony was looking a whole lot like a royal wedding. From a lone survivor in his past life to a tribal leader with a people and a wife of his own. It felt surreal, like a fever dream, yet he finally found the place where he truly belonged. He approached Lisa, entrusting her with the tribe's future, should anything happen to him on the road. Turning to his people, he declared Lisa the official queen of the newbie tribe. The crowd went wild, chanting for their king and queen as emotions ran high throughout the village. Not a single eye was dry, even the stoic Mia was moved to tears. The air thrummed with the tribe's devotion to their rulers, a moment so powerful it even brought Mia to tears. With the king's successor finalized, the party atmosphere faded into the night. As shadows reclaimed the land, the tribe settled in for some well-earned rest. Chen exhaled, the high-stakes ceremony had concluded without a single disaster. Ayu approached with a knowing smirk, mentioning that Queen Lisa was waiting in her chambers. Time for a visit. Initially, Chen turned beet red at the thought of his queen, but then he froze, remembering her affection usually involved a whip. Despite the internal panic, he ventured toward the palace, morbidly curious. Steeling his resolve for the coming storm, Chen entered, announcing he was finally home. But the sight of her simmering fury and the suffocating tension turned his limbs to lead. It felt like a public execution was about to happen. Lisa's voice cut through the air, granting him exactly one chance to explain his crimes. Trembling Chen asked what he was even supposed to be explaining. Lisa rose, uncoiling her leather whip with a lethal snap. Still playing the fool, she hissed. Real terror set in. Chen begged for mercy, reminding her it was their wedding night. Privately, he cursed the day he upgraded that whip's stats. Lisa demanded to know why he was so eager to ditch her for some quest right after their vows. Realizing it was just jealousy, Chen relaxed slightly and urged her to listen. He laid out the entire grand strategy, detailing his plan to recruit giants against the Stone Clan. Lisa questioned if he could actually flip those monsters. Secrecy was his only safety net, so the true objective had to remain hidden. He also confessed his confusion. Why were Sam and Ayu so traumatized by giants? Hearing his logic, Lisa offered to gear up and join the raid. Chen declined. Someone had to lead the tribe while he was away. Besides, she had a far more vital assignment. Intrigued, she asked for the details. Pulling out a stone sling, Chen promised a demo later. By my return, he said, I need you to have a master marksman squad ready. The scene shifted to dawn with Chen approaching giant territory, flanked by Huang Shu, Hector, and Tina. He was even vibing humming a tune as they marched. But Ayun was burning a hole in his back with a murderous glare. Chen's nerves frayed. Was this guy actually stalking him from behind, just waiting for the perfect moment to backstab him? Unfortunately, his hands were tied, since Lisa had personally approved this lineup. Their late-night talk had been simple. When Chen tried flirting, she'd shut him down instantly, demanding he get serious. She then questioned why his team lacked coconut or Bay Clan warriors. Chen explained that Hector's raw combat prowess was a proven asset. As for the shoreline defense, Stonebone was more than capable of holding the fort. Lisa didn't care about the others, but Ayun was mandatory. She claimed she'd only feel safe knowing Ayun was watching his back. Leaning in, Lisa assured her king that she'd disciplined Ayun enough to ensure total obedience. Back on the trail, Chen was still low-key panicking. Ayun's rage simmered like a volcano, keeping the air thick with tension. Chen basically glued himself to Huang Shu, convinced that if things went south, only the veteran could save him. Suddenly, Huang Shu slowed down, muttering about a weird sensation of being watched before dismissing it as jitters. Hector chimed in, pointing toward a nearby lake. Chen nodded, recalling Sam's warnings. Hector laughed, betting Sam had seen the beast too. When I was a kid, I saw that thing delete a leopard in one bite. He considered that near-death experience a blessing, and now, he was itching for a rematch with the lake monster. Chen was speechless. Since Wen was meeting a kraken, considered good luck, he told Hector he wasn't interested in sushi. He wanted to hunt something truly legendary, like actual giants. Huang Shu visibly recoiled, begging Chen not to jinx them. Laughing it off, Chen asked if the legends were even legit. Huang Shu's expression darkened as he recalled their tribe's former size. Then they crossed paths with a giant, and their warriors were useless. The entire clan dissolved into a chaotic, terrified mess. Even as a child, that trauma was burned into Huang Shu's soul. No survivor ever truly moves on from that horror. Finally, it clicked. No wonder Sam and Ayu were so terrified. Suddenly, Hector intervened, shouting a warning about the local berries. He'd learned that lesson the hard way as a kid. Opening his system, Chen confirmed they were toxic. But looking around, he realized this death forest might actually be a goldmine. He initiated a mass scan of the local flora. The results were insane. Every leaf was a top-tier medicine. He'd stumbled into a natural pharmacy. But then, a specific stalk caught his eye, looking incredibly familiar. Analyzing the sample, the system flagged it as high-quality cereal grass. Chen's eyes sparkled. He'd found food gold. As he bagged the seeds, a system alert chimed. New quest: establish a massive grain farm within 180 days. Chen's mind raced. Farming was finally within reach. With clay, they could finally craft real cookware. It meant medicine and survival. But the grain wasn't ready, so he'd have to return for the harvest later. Suddenly, a chill ran down his spine. It wasn't Tina's glare this time. Huang Su had spotted something. Chen whirled around, heart pounding, only to find fibrous leaves perfect for weaving rope or sturdy cloth. He grinned, praising Huang Su's sharp eyes. He could already envision the tribe in better, stronger gear. But Huang Su's face was grim. Not the grass, Chen. Listen, something's moving in those bushes. A hyena slinked out of the shadows. These mangy scavengers had been stalking them from the start. Those eyes from before, it was them. And they weren't just hungry, they were back for blood. Don't let a single one escape, Chen roared. Hector didn't hesitate, charging into the fray with pure fury. Hector was out for the kill, but disaster struck. 3 hyenas suddenly lunged, cornering a defenseless Ayun. He blurred into motion, intercepting the beasts. Save the thanks for later, he grunted as the pack retreated. Hector scoffed at their cowardice, but Chen's eyes narrowed. Don't let them go, we end this now. Tired of being the prey, they gave chase. But even with boosted agility, Chen felt the gap in speed. The beasts were too fast. He was losing them. When suddenly, a terrifying silence fell behind him. He spun around and his blood ran cold. Ayun was trapped in the clutches of a monstrous plant. A crimson king flower, a gargantuan predator that melted its prey alive with lethal corrosive slime. Chen was floored. Saber-tooths, giants, and now a man-eating plant. This prehistoric world was straight-up insanity. Logic meant nothing here. Ayun desperately stabbed at the vines, but her bone knife just wouldn't bite. The blade fell into the flower's gaping maw and vanished, instantly dissolved. Everyone watched in absolute horror. "What are you doing?" Chen screamed at the others. "Move, get Ayun out of there now." "We're stuck too, damn it," Huangsu barked back. Trapped Chen began frantically hacking at the strangling vines. "Just hold on," he yelled, but Ayun's voice cracked. "Forget me, Chen, save Hector, just go. Run before it gets you too." Then the plant swallowed her whole. Pure rage exploded in Chen's heart. He had to save the others first, but a new nightmare emerged. The hyenas were attacking from behind. Hector hurled a rock, snarling at the pack. "Stay back, Chen. It's a trap. Don't come any closer." "Save yourself," Huangsu echoed. "Go. We'll hold them off as long as we can." Chen ignored them, fighting the vines. These things weren't fast. The hyenas were just using the chaos to hunt. He spotted a cluster of dry, dead trees. Risking it all, he struck his flint, desperate for a spark. The wood caught. If there's one thing every monster fears, it's being roasted alive by a massive fire. The vines shriveled in the heat, and Chen lunged, ripping Ayun from the monster's acidic throat. "Can you move?" he gasped. They still had to free Huangsu, and Tina's clothes were practically shredded. He tossed her his royal robe for cover. With everyone finally free, they bolted into the wilderness. As they ran, Chen ignited every dry tree they passed, creating a wall of flame against the hyenas. "Water, up ahead," Chen shouted, pointing toward a river. "Get in, it's our only safe zone." But one relentless beast was closing in on Ayun. "Ayun, behind you, watch out," Chen screamed. He lunged back, blocking the strike. He held the beast at bay as Hector and Huangsu watched, paralyzed. "Go, keep moving," Chen bellowed. The wildfire he started was now racing toward them like a demon. "I'm right behind you," he lied, praying he could kill this thing before the inferno swallowed them both. Suddenly, a whistle cut through the air. An arrow pierced the hyena's skull. It was Tina. Her latent talent had finally awakened. Chen turned to Ayun. Could she shoot too? She nodded weakly. "My ankle's shot," she whispered, her strength fading. I can't run anymore, Chen." "Leave me," she pleaded, but Chen snapped. "Shut up." He swung her onto his back and sprinted. "Move it, Chen. We're running out of time," Hector roared, then looked at a struggling Huangsu. Hector offered a lift, but Huangsu's pride held firm. As they ran, Ayun leaned close to Chen's ear. Her voice was cold. "I was going to wait. But tell me, did you orchestrate that bull attack?" Chen questioned her logic, but Ayun countered that he'd just lie to her face regardless. "Those bulls were bleeding before they arrived, yet our strongest steel couldn't even scratch their thick hides. Who could have scarred them?" Seeing Chen's tribe dominate those beasts only fueled her growing distrust. Rumors wouldn't sway the queen, so Ayun chose violence, pressing a jagged bone blade against Chen's throat. "If I slice you now, could you even react?" she hissed. "Or will you just toss me into the flames?" Chen ignored the threat. "Just hang on. We're hitting the ledge, then you can kill me if you want." Ayun backed off for now, but promised to stay watchful. One wrong move against Lisa, and he was dead. Betray the coconut grove and she'd end him. Chen just shrugged coolly, accepting her deadly terms. His stubborn silence infuriated her. He wouldn't crack. Finally, they both plummeted into the churning depths below. Reality set in. With two teammates wounded and immobilized, their mission was officially dead in the water. "Back to the thicket," he barked. "We need every medicinal herb we can find and fast." Later, a wave of relief washed over Huangshu as the salve kicked in, numbing his searing agony. Leaving the others to recover, Chen and Hector scouted for more flora. Suddenly, Hector's nostrils flared. He smelled something. Was it a leftover scent from the brawl? No. Chen saw hyena pups nearby, and the truth hit him. These predators weren't hunting them for spite. They were just fierce parents protecting their helpless litter. A chance to breed warhounds, Chen locked in the quest. But then, a bone-chilling roar shook the forest. Ayun froze at the noise, but Chen's blood ran cold. This couldn't be happening. Talk about worst-case scenarios. A massive bear emerged from the shadows. Huangshu shrieked in pure terror. This was a legendary man-eater. Outrunning this beast with wounded teammates was a pipe dream. Chen made the call. "Everyone fall back now." He stepped up to kite the monster. Hector and Ayun protested, but Chen shut them down with a roar. "You're just dead weight right now," he snapped. "If you want to survive, do exactly what I say." He commanded Hector to evacuate the wounded. Then Chen lunged at the bear as the team vanished into the brush. Standing toe-to-toe with the Titan, Chen swung first, but the bear's counter-swipe sent him flying like a ragdoll. Bruised but breathing, Chen stood up. Hector panicked and begged the others to retreat with the captured pups. Hector moved to assist his king, but Huangshu yelled for him to stop. He knew Chen's true potential. No foe could break Chen, and they'd only get in his way. Huangshu practically dragged them away from the fight. The bear was locked onto him now. Chen's mission was simple: kite this nightmare away from his people. Bait and switch. He goaded the beast, then bolted in the opposite direction the second it lunged. He led the monster far from the group. Once he gained enough ground, he hoped they were finally safe. Just as he prepared to vanish, a blur of motion struck from behind. Chen barely dodged the lethal ambush. What now? For a heartbeat, he feared some oversized rodent beast was joining the fray to finish him off. Plot twist, it was that same saber-toothed tiger he'd faced when he first arrived in this savage world. Even the cat looked surprised, but the reunion was cut short as the bear thundered back onto the scene. Chen was in deep trouble. Juggling the raw power of both apex predators at once was a death sentence. Pangu's power was an option, but the backlash was brutal. He'd be a sitting duck for weeks. He could lose consciousness for days. If the Stone Clan found him, then he'd be completely at their mercy. The bear and the tiger narrowed their focus, trapping Chen between two legends. He tried baiting them into each other. Suddenly, the system flashed red: extreme danger emergency escape mode activated. For 600 seconds, agility spiked by 20 points, but the post-skill debuff would leave him utterly drained. A violent surge of energy flooded his veins. He leaped, soaring over the combined fury of both beasts. He forced the predators into a head-on collision. He couldn't believe his own insane, explosive speed and agility. Bizarrely, they both kept pursuing him. Why weren't they tearing each other apart? Chen felt a cold dread. He finally lost them, but the cost weighed heavy. That escape skill was god tier, but the penalty was lethal. He'd accidentally sprinted all the way to the frozen peaks. Might as well find that giant now, he thought. Each step cleared massive ground. Without that buff, this deep mountain snow would have been his icy grave. Scaling the peak, Chen finally locked eyes with a shadow, questioning if this was the fabled Colossus. Instantaneously, the system pinged, mission accomplished. His hard-earned rewards materialized before his very eyes. A new prompt flared: strike the beast for 10 attribute points. Chen's face darkened with pure annoyance. Was the system glitching? Suddenly, the giant's monstrous pet twitched, sniffing out an intruder in the air. Chen dove into the shadows. Yet those 10 precious attribute points were a siren call he couldn't ignore. Risking it, he blurred into motion, launching a jagged rock. The stone sailed through the air with agonizing slowness. The pebble barely grazed the titan unnoticed. However, the beast's guardian caught the scent and let out a low growl. Danger loomed, but the mission-clear window flashed. Chen cheered until the system ruthlessly unveiled the third phase. Slay the Colossus solo for 100 points, Chen froze. That massive bounty was enough to rewrite his destiny. This could skyrocket his power level. As he weighed his survival against the prize, hesitation clouded his mind. Irritated by the noise, the giant crushed the earth, roaring for silence. The impact sent a localized blizzard screaming upward. Snow swallowed Chen whole. His world turned white and numb, a brutal reminder of the Titan's godlike strength. No reward is worth a grave, Chen spat. Night fell, painting the rugged landscape in hues of twilight. Days later at base, Lisa grilled the Coconut Grove scouts for any intel gathered during their midnight sweep. They hung their heads in failure. Lisa barked orders to expand the search perimeter. No stone was to be unturned. Ayun whispered of death, bracing for the worst. Lisa's eyes blazed with fury as she silenced the girl instantly. He bled for us, Lisa roared. Suddenly, a scout from the Bay clan burst in, breathless and shouting. The king is back. The camp erupted as Chen limped in, survivors, swarming him with frantic, worried eyes. Mia spotted Ogon flanking him. Why didn't you light the signal fire, she demanded. We could have saved him. Ogon shrugged, explaining Chen requested a low-profile entry. That is when Lisa pushed through the crowd, her presence absolute. Back off, she commanded, clearing a path. Grabbing Chen, she dispersed the mob and sent them to work. She claimed sole custody of the king. Leak his condition, she hissed, and you will regret ever being born. Terrified, the crowd dispersed. Safely inside, Chen exhaled, relieved that Sam's team had survived their perilous trek. Those hyena cubs were an unexpected bonus. He urged Lisa to let Sam train the beasts for the clan. Sam needs guardians for solo runs, Chen noted. Lisa snapped back. Worry about your own broken body first. Strength does not make you immortal. Chen played it off, claiming these wounds were nothing but mere scratches. He just needed rest. Yet the workaholic king still tried to talk business. Suddenly, Lisa pinned him down firmly. Her leg slid dangerously low. She agreed to tell Sam, but reminded him kings should not micromanage every detail. I won't lose my man, she whispered. Then, without warning, she applied pressure to his most sensitive spot. Chen froze, pleading for mercy. She smirked, finally letting go and ordering sleep. He lay there, utterly speechless. Lisa was becoming a total boss. Outside, Ling Guochui waited anxiously, desperate for an update on Chen. He is fine, just exhausted, Lisa declared. Nobody gets in. I won't have him disturbed by anyone. Alone, Chen summoned his system window. Even with a 4-point penalty, his total stats looked incredibly promising. A net gain of 10 points, worth the risk. But glass cannon builds were dangerous. Raw power lacked finesse. Speed was the ultimate survival tool. Without a second thought, Chen dumped his points into pure agility. 5 points hit the first threshold, now costs doubled. Would 10 points trigger yet another massive price hike? If it kept doubling, reaching level 22 would be a nightmare. The grind was becoming impossibly steep. Do all stats have caps? To solve the mystery, he decided to push every attribute to its limit. He pumped points into his stone attribute. Suddenly, agonizing power surged through his veins, threatening to shatter his frame. Cloth shredded as his muscles expanded. Only 2 stats left before he conquered every available threshold. Reaching the limit drained him. Collapsing onto the bed, he plotted his next move for ultimate power. One more breakthrough to go. He drifted off. Peace finally settled over the thriving newbie territory. Lisa led weapons training her slingshot skills on full display. 6 bullseyes, 1 graze, nearly a perfect run. Impressive work, Chen's voice rang out, startling the recruits. Lisa's eyes locked onto him in an instant. Why are you out of bed? She snapped. Chen just grinned, claiming his recovery was already total and complete. Lisa's eagle eyes locked onto his new gear. Suspicion hit hard. Was there another girl? She was ready to throw down. Chen went full damage control, swearing his surging power literally shredded his old clothes. He practically begged her to chill. Lisa dropped the news. The Slinger squad was officially a go. Chen pivoted, checking in on Huang Shu and Ayun's recovery. Lisa groaned that Huang Shu was being a total martyr, refusing to stay in bed and acting like a burden. He was busy playing nurse for the guy, so no worries there. But Ayun, she was the real headache. Ayun's wounds were light, but her mood was dark. Maybe that earlier scolding from Lisa had her feeling some type of way. Chen reminded Lisa that Ayun's loyalty ran deep under that tough exterior. Go easy on her, he suggested. Chen headed off for some much-needed shut-eye. He had a big northern trek plan to secure those elite millet crops. His inventor brain never slept. Later, Chen was seen drafting a number chart from 1 to 9, the birth of math. Time for some basic arithmetic. He was laying the groundwork for a written language and a functioning number system. Boom, 20 attribute points secured. Plus, his tech score finally hit the big 100. The tech shop was finally open for business. Chen could now trade points for legendary tools and ancient heritage plaques. No trade-ins allowed. A massive digital menu popped up, showcasing a literal buffet of resources and gear. Chen's eyes lit up as he scrolled through the options. He was like a kid in a candy store planning his moves. The choice was tough. What's the first pick? Meanwhile, threats like the Giant Stone Clan and Tina were definitely looming. The vibes were getting tense. Let's see how this play unfolds. Don't go anywhere, this is about to get spicy. Once the system panel blinked into existence, Chen checked his loot and dropped 30 tech points on an iron cauldron. Total steal. It wasn't just for gourmet cooking. The fact that it was solid iron changed the whole game. He could strap it to his back as armor or use it as a makeshift shield. This was peak survival gear. In a life-or-death brawl, this pot could double as a lethal weapon. Chen was so hyped he ignored the noise. The clatter echoed through the hut. Liu Tang, fearing his king was under attack, rushed in to investigate. He found Chen doing a literal victory dance around the cauldron. Liu Tang was beyond confused, pure NPC energy. Chen played it off, claiming he was talking to the spirits. But it was finally time to get cooking. He hollowed out a pit by hand, making sure the ventilation was perfect for a roaring fire. He set the pot over the flames to boil. The system instantly flagged the progress, rewarding his primitive innovation. 10 more points. Chen thanked his old professor's random lectures. Who knew they'd actually be useful in the Stone Age? Once the water was bubbling, he tossed in the fresh seafood catch. He was about to serve up legendary fish soup. He gave it a vigorous stir. The system pinged him another 10 points for inventing a brand new cooking style. For Chen, that meal tasted like a 5-star feast. Right then, Stone Bone arrived with some massive news. They'd finally harvested salt from the sea, more points banked, and finally the food didn't taste like cardboard. As a treat, Chen let him taste the experimental broth before sending him back to the salt fields. Those points he spent on the cauldron were already flowing back. This was his most profitable trade yet. After the test, Chen told Liu Tang to round up the tribe. Tell everyone to bring their own bowls. The tribe had never experienced seasoning like this. The rich, savory flavor of the fish soup absolutely floored them. Luckily, there was plenty to go around and the all-you-can-eat vibes were high. Mia was already on bowl number 3. Ayun worried they'd run out, but Chen just laughed it off. There was more than enough. If the pot ran dry, he'd just whip up another batch for the tribe. The guards and patrol squads needed their share too. Chen planned to personally deliver the goods to the outpost. He loved leveling up his people. Next up, teaching them to use chopsticks like true civilized legends. Imagine eating roast beef with class. While the tribe feasted, Chen dove back into the tech store. He'd already stacked another 100 points. It was time to find the next game-changing item for the tribe. He skipped the basic manuals. They weren't what he needed right now. He was looking for something higher tier. What he really needed were elite seeds for planting. Suddenly, an urgent report interrupted his shopping spree. A trap in the northern woods had just snapped. No human signs nearby. It was likely a massive beast. Lisa's sudden appearance caught him off guard, but her take-no-prisoners attitude quickly handled the situation. She dismissed the guards, claiming the beast wasn't worth the king's attention, and ordered its immediate execution. Irritated by Chen's neglect, she decided to take matters into her own hands and confront him personally. Only now could he focus on domestic peace. This time, he vowed to revolutionize the tribe with new discoveries. He sealed his oath with a sudden kiss, leaving her stunned as he turned toward the captured creature. Instead of a kill, he saw a potential ally to tame. He handed the remaining chores to Lisa. Their nettle supply had vanished, requiring a fresh harvest. More crucially, they needed that legendary wild millet. Those seeds were the key to farming. As they approached the traps, Chen scanned for any sign of grain. His search turned up empty. They finally reached the pit, but a haunting silence hung over the trapped beast. They froze in shock. The animal's desperate cries for help had shifted into low, agonized snarls of pain. A jagged wound pierced its leg. It was another hyena lured into the trap by sheer hunger. One glance confirmed she was a mother. Sam, smelling the scent of milk, knew she was currently nursing. This was undoubtedly the mother of the cubs. Bound by guilt, Chen descended into the pit toward her. Despite the threat of those razor-sharp claws, they bound her in rope and hoisted her up effortlessly. Drained by her injuries, the once wild hyena became as submissive as a common dog under Sam's care. Chen commanded him to heal and feed her. It was a daunting task, considering the stubborn cubs. The little ones refused every scrap of meat. Sam scrambled to find something their mother would actually eat. The cubs wasted away, growing weaker by the hour. Taming wild hyenas was proving far more brutal than expected. Yet capturing the mother might be their salvation. Back at camp, Chen ordered the adult hyena secured. If she ate and reunited with her pups, they might survive. Sam raced back to the village immediately. Chen prayed these savage beasts would adapt to their new home and accept their destiny as allies. Chen dispatched the warrior to scout other traps, while he led the main group further into the north. Wildlife teemed as they pushed deeper. Luckily, his gamble paid off when they discovered ripe, wild millet. A few days later, and the harvest would have rotted. This was a true blessing from the heavens. With time to spare, Chen began gathering vital herbs. This was shaping up to be their best haul. Resources piled high as evening approached. But as darkness fell, the true predators of the forest awoke. Recognizing the bear's thunderous roar, Chen signaled a silent retreat into the thick brush. They held their breath, but the massive beast was closing the distance with terrifying speed. They could have ditched their heavy supplies to flee, but Chen refused to abandon the valuable harvest. He wouldn't throw away their hard work, ordering everyone to stay low until the danger passed. Every man tensed, ready to bolt at a second's notice. Survival was the tribe's ultimate priority. Their awkward hiding poses were almost comical, but the prowling bear was likely a dangerous old foe. Once the roars faded, the group grew careless, whispering foolishly and breaking the heavy tension. Visibly annoyed, Chen threatened to feed the next person who spoke directly to the bear. Ironically, his own outburst drew the beast back. The massive predator turned and charged toward their location. The bear thrashed wildly, crashing into trees and collapsing. It was clearly maimed and driven by agony. Stone bones suggested turning it into a feast, but they weren't the only predators on the hunt. A strange war cry echoed, sending the wounded bear fleeing in the opposite direction from the hunters. It was the mountain tribe on the chase, the very same enemies Hector swore to destroy. Blinded by rage, Hector lunged from the shadows to strike. That reckless move nearly doomed them all. Chen violently yanked him back into the tall grass, though the rustling leaves betrayed their position. A mountain tribesman paused, sensing something. Fortunately, the allure of the prey kept him moving forward. Hector fumed, unable to grasp why Chen would let such a perfect revenge opportunity slip away. Chen held him firm. Rage was a blind guide, and the enemy clearly held the numerical advantage. A frontal assault would be suicide. Chen's only edge was that the enemy was exposed in the light. While his squad remained ghosts in the dark, Hector had to wait for the perfect strike. For now, submission was his only choice. Nearby, the exhausted beast finally buckled, hitting the dirt hard. A pursuer jeered at the fallen creature, ruthlessly kicking it back up every time it tried to give up. Yet the mountain tribe chief loathed such pettiness. This predator had consumed deer meat tainted with lethal white blossoms. A gut wound added to its misery. Surviving this long and sprinting this far was nothing short of miraculous. It earned a warrior's end. Tormenting it was pathetic, so the chief slammed the offender into a nearby trunk. Ordering his men back, the leader readied himself to grant the beast a swift, albeit agonizing, final release. He brandished a jagged obsidian dagger. Witnessing the poison bait tactic, Chen's mental gears began to turn rapidly. Such high-level tactical poisoning from a primitive tribe caught him off guard. These guys were dangerously smart. Suddenly, the system intervened, demanding Chen rescue the beast. This meant picking a fight with the entire mountain tribe. Saving the monster that literally tried to maul him was insane, but he had no choice but to move. The system knew he'd be pissed. This rare quest was a one-time offer. Decline it and it vanishes forever. With zero time to debate, Chen accepted the suicidal task while cursing the system with every fiber of his being. Rage fueled his sprint toward the clearing. That pure spite gave him the speed to intercept the obsidian blade. Chen's sudden entrance shattered the chief's ritual, outraging the warriors by snatching the tribe's hard-earned prize away. His team was now in the crosshairs of a furious army. For better or worse, Chen bet everything on the system. Praying the bear wouldn't eat him later, a new subquest notification pinged the second he committed to the rescue. The creature was drugged and bleeding out from a gut wound. Chen had 10 minutes before it was game over. Neutralizing the toxin was mandatory. In the heat of the moment, Chen had totally overlooked the venomous bait. He needed to focus. The objective was animal rescue, not triggering a full-scale massacre against the local tribe. A head-on collision was the worst-case scenario, but diplomatic talks weren't an option with the clock ticking down. Across the clearing, the mountain chief squinted, recognizing the kid who had just caused waves at the sea tribe. The chief's sheer arrogance set Hector off. Being forgotten like a nameless extra made him grit his teeth in fury. While the others braced for impact, Chen tuned them out, his eyes locked on the flashing system warning screens. The failure penalty was nightmare fuel. The system threatened to nerf his manhood by 50% if he failed. That was low even for the system. He pictured Lisa dumping him for a guy with more functional hardware. No way was his legacy ending in such a pathetic tragedy. Fueled by desperation, Chen prepared to risk it all. Refusing to let his crew die for his quest, he barked a defensive order as the battlefield finally exploded. His allies formed a human shield, while Chen performed emergency surgery. Within 60 seconds, the hemorrhage was finally plugged. The bleeding was child's play compared to the venom. Neutralizing an unknown toxin was a challenge he'd never faced. With Chen hyper-focused on the beast, his front line began to buckle under the sheer weight of the tribal assault. Mortality loomed over them. Bloody and battered, the team was reaching their breaking point as their strength rapidly faded. They refused to fold. Surprisingly, the mountain chief raised his hand, signaling a halt. He actually admired their grit. For a ragtag bunch of outcasts, their coordination was elite. As a sign of respect for their warrior spirit, he offered a peaceful exit, but Hector wasn't having it. Old grudges and a thirst for vengeance consumed him. Hector claimed they were just getting started. Despite the fading light, his squad still had plenty of smoke left. They played along with the bluff, creating a wall of bravado to buy Chen every precious second he needed. Time was vanishing fast. Chen had exactly 6 minutes left before the system's deadline expired for good. He was clueless about the antidote. Despite their tough talk, even Stone Bone looked like he was about to collapse. Stalling meant certain failure. He could feel the system mocking his struggle. To survive, he'd have to get creative. Dignity was optional now. Across the clearing, the chief accepted the challenge, dropping into a terrifyingly powerful stance. He stomped the earth with such insane power that a visible shockwave tore through the clearing, paralyzing the team. Panic froze them. Chen reacted instantly, sacrificing his weapon to smash the shockwave and shield his companions. Dust clouded the air. Avoiding this conflict was his original plan, but now he had to go all in. This only piqued the chief's interest. He demanded to know which tribe dared to defy his might so fearlessly. He'd labeled them as nobodies, but his judgment was way off. Squashing such talent with numbers wasn't his style. Getting the intel he needed, he granted them mercy. But a dark promise hung in the air their paths would cross again. Seeing their forces match, the mountain tribe's leader smirked. This encounter had definitely piqued his interest. He staged a noble retreat, dragging his broken warriors back, including the poor soul he had literally smashed into a trunk earlier. That bearmocker was now a mangled mess requiring a carry. Against all odds, Chen's fledgling tribe had dodged a total bloodbath. A single crisis lingered. Chen had to neutralize the lethal toxin ravaging the great beast's body before time ran out. Confusion rippled through the mountain tribe. Why would their fierce leader just hand over such prime prey? It made zero sense. The missing ginseng was the key. Without that precious herb to fuel their strength, they were far from their peak performance. Worse yet, the shaman's mystical buff was fading fast. Chen was proving to be a much bigger threat than they anticipated. Chen had parried a 70% power blow with ease. That terrifying composure convinced the chief that the boy held a hidden ace. That blade was suspicious, too sharp for a low-rank tribe. Staring at the obsidian edge, the chief's gears began turning. He swore to go all out in their next clash. Back at camp, Chen turned to his crew, desperate for a solution. Sadly, zero teammates knew how to handle this deadly venom. While they watched helplessly, some questioned why they even bothered saving it. To them, it was just food they had fought for. There was no time for a lecture. They just needed to realize that this was a life-or-death gamble. With one last shot from the system, Chen combined honeysuckle and burdock in a final prayer. These herbs were detox legends, but could they stop this specific toxin? The team pried the massive predator's jaws apart to find out. They jammed the concoction down its throat. Chen held his breath, praying for a miracle, as every agonizing second felt like an eternity. At the very last second, a system notification pinged. The bear's vitals had finally stabilized. The crisis was officially averted. Tension evaporated as the bear pulled through. Everyone exhaled except for Hector, who was already itching for more action. He wanted to hunt the mountain tribe immediately, but Chen channeling Major Leader energy reminded him they were blind to the enemy's power. Charging in without intel would be a suicide mission. They could not afford to throw lives away on a reckless gamble. A win with heavy casualties is no win. Chen would not trade lives for revenge, knowing the mountain tribe would eventually return anyway. Prep time was essential. Once the strategy was set, he ordered the squad back to base while he handled the rest. While Chen babysat the bear, Stonebones sprinted to warn the queen they needed to double the patrols and do it fast. Guard duty was non-negotiable with those hostiles looming. Finally, alone with the animal, Chen braced for the long night. The night felt infinite. Scavengers lured by the scent of weakened prey swarmed in waves, forcing Chen to repel them repeatedly. He spent the darkness brawling with beasts. Surprisingly, the losers made for a gourmet barbecue, which he devoured with zero regrets. As the sun peaked, the bear stirred, its nose twitching toward the aroma. Chen decided to share the spoils of his night. He tossed it a cooked snack, but played it safe by leaving a stack of raw rabbits nearby, just in case. As the embers died, the odd duo man and beast shared a peaceful moment, both completely stuffed from their midnight feast. Suddenly, the system pinged mission clear. He had earned massive sympathy points from the bear, ready for an instant stat boost. Chen dumped everything into physical strength, hitting a critical milestone. He could feel his muscles densifying into pure, unadulterated power. He was vibing with the rewards when the bear suddenly nudged some of its own food toward him. A total bro move. It was a pledge of loyalty. Chen accepted the offering, sharing the meal. Recovery complete, the beast was finally free to leave. Chen expected a goodbye, but the beast had zero chill. It lunged forward, snagging Chen's clothes in its massive teeth. It was crystal clear the bear was coming home with him, and it was not taking no for an answer. Sure, the grocery bill would be insane, but rolling up with a literal war bear would skyrocket Chen's street cred and authority. Clumsy or not, the bear was now part of the squad. He dubbed it Shunda, officially welcoming the beast into the tribe. Overjoyed, Shunda tackled Chen with a slobbery bear hug before happily lumbering behind him like a giant furry bodyguard. With his new powerhouse ally tracking, the mountain tribe became a breeze. Chen mounted Shunda, ready to scout their next move. The enemy's sloppy trail was a joke to follow, but as they pushed deeper, the landscape began to shift dramatically. The foliage thickened into a massive bamboo forest. To the average eye, it is just wood, but Chen saw a major tactical upgrade. Bamboo was the secret ingredient for explosives. He just needed the perfect cocktail of nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal to spark chaos. These tubes were nature's grenades. If he could mass-produce these firecrackers, the upcoming war was about to get a whole lot louder. The surprise factor would be insane. Even if the explosion did not kill, the thunderous roar would absolutely shatter the enemy morale. They would run for their lives. Chen had the saltpeter and charcoal ready, but one missing ingredient remained. He needed sulfur. Since that mineral only spawns near volcanic heat, Chen opened his system map to pinpoint the exact coordinates. His hunch was dead on a massive volcano loomed right next to the icy mountain. He just had to sneak in and snag the sulfur. During his last escape, Chen was too panicked to notice the loot, but this time with his bear bro Shunda by his side, the mission felt like a walk in the park. After double-checking the strategy, he signaled the beast to charge north. They tore through the terrain quickly, reaching the lakeside where Hector and Sam had previously set up camp. Chen reminisced about his last visit to Shunda. Back then, survival was the only thing on his mind. But today he was back for everything he missed. They crept toward the water's edge, holding their breath in the eerie silence, bracing for the legendary sea monster to strike. Nothing happened at first, but then Shunda froze his fur, bristling with pure terror. Suddenly, the lake's surface erupted in a violent explosion of bubbles. An ancient, terrifying head broke the water, letting out a bone-chilling roar as it hauled its massive frame onto land. A literal Tyrannosaurus was on the hunt, and a frayed rope dangling from its neck proved this beast was once someone's pet. This was definitely not on Chen's bingo card for the day. They ducked into the tall grass, hearts racing. Looking at that heavy collar, it was obvious the T-Rex belonged to. The mountain giant probably escaping while its master was knocked out. It finally clicked the beast that spooked the saber-tooth, and left those to tangent-sized footprints, was just another one of these prehistoric predators. This meant the mountain giant had been out cold for 15 days. They couldn't afford to waste this golden opportunity. As soon as the predator looked away, Chen gave Shunda the signal to bolt toward the peak. The bear didn't hesitate, charging deeper into the freezing tundra. Soon the snow became so thick, they were forced to slow down. One wrong move could trigger a deadly avalanche. To play it safe, Chen hopped off Shunda's back, making the big guy visibly nervous. Chen actually wanted to watch the bear's six and jump in if things got dicey. He gave his furry companion a reassuring pat, telling him to stay sharp. Bringing Shunda was honestly a galaxy brain move, because the bear's massive paws acted like natural snowplows digging up the earth. Suddenly, a pungent familiar scent hit Chen's nose. He began scanning the area frantically. The further they dug, the more the air stank like a burnt match factory. After some serious grinding, he finally struck gold, a massive sulfur vein that could turn the tide of the war. Against the mountain tribe, Chen's heart raced. With this much raw material, they could start mass-producing explosives by morning. He packed the loot onto Shunda and hightailed it back to base. As they reached the village gates, Sam ran out to greet him, but everyone stopped dead in their tracks. Seeing a literal bear as a sidekick was too much to handle. Chen quickly calmed the crowd, introducing Shunda as an ally. The tribe was skeptical at first, but it didn't take long before everyone was lining up to take the bear for a spin. Chen wasn't about to let his friend become a tourist attraction, though, and promised to find them their own mounts later. With the sulfur safe, Chen tasked Ayu with drying bamboo for a secret project. Then he spotted Lisa, who was admiring Shunda's power with a proud smile. But their reunion was cut short by a sudden crisis. A massive sea beast had invaded the coast, terrorizing the village and putting all fishing operations on lockdown. Its violent thrashing sent massive waves crashing onto the shore, destroying their precious salt supply and leaving the workers in despair. Chen kept his cool, gathered the facts from the panicked messenger, and headed straight to the front lines. Seconds later, he and Shunda were at the beach watching crates smash against the rocks. The intruder was an ichthyosaur, a vicious fish-shaped marine predator. Even though it was still a juvenile, its predatory instincts were already off the charts. It was over 7 meters of pure aggression, shredding everything in its path. Even Chen felt the pressure, but he couldn't let this thing wreck their home. If they didn't take it down now, the village would lose everything. The plan was simple: bait the monster onto the sand to nerf its speed and power. Chen charged Shunda into the waves, baiting the reckless beast. The initial impact sent the bear tumbling onto the beach, but it forced the ichthyosaur to show its soft underbelly. Chen launched himself into the air and buried his axe deep into its gut. Enraged, the monster snapped its jaws shut on Chen and dragged him into the crushing depths of the ocean. It dove for the bottom, trying to drown him before he could even fight back. Chen realized his lungs would give out, way before the beast could swallow him. He used every ounce of strength to pry the jaws open while Shunda dove in after them. Before they sank too deep, the bear bit onto the monster's tail and dragged the whole mess back to land, perfectly executing the plan. Death closed in as the ichthyosaur's crushing jaws clamped down, suffocating the life out of him. This hell surpassed human limits. In that watery grave, Chen's will finally began to shatter. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the abyss, twin blades flashing with lethal cinematic intent. She ripped through the beast's scaly hide, forcing the monster to vomit its prey. Crimson clouds bloomed in the depths, masking the mysterious warrior in a veil of gore. Oxygen vanished. Chen's limbs went cold and heavy, sinking deeper into the silent blue. Fading out, his mind fixated on her, a sea phantom dancing through the waves with deadly grace. Chen gasped awake on burning sand, meeting Junda's frantic and tear-filled eyes. After hacking up brine and salt, he spotted his savior perched coolly on a jagged outcrop. He beckoned Alana over the sea tribe's legendary apex predator, who ruled these treacherous waters. She was a surgical killer, knowing the exact anatomical weak spots to drop that lizard instantly. Her tribe wasn't known for high intelligence, but Alana seemed particularly disconnected from reality. Dead of life came first. Chen ignored her quirks and offered his heartfelt, sincere thanks. His eyes drifted to her gear. Where did she score those wicked black obsidian twin blades? She casually mentioned looting them from some villain who dared trespass on her clan's turf. Suspicion flashed in her eyes. Fearing a robbery, she nearly drew blood right then and there. Disaster was avoided once they vouched for Chen's status, finally chilling her out. Her memory was hazy, but she sensed his burning desire to protect her people. Trust earned, Alana recounted the bloody day the mountain tribes launched their surprise blitz. The chaos knocked her cold. She awoke to find her brother Fang rotting in a cave. Enslaved and broken, they endured the unthinkable until Fang cooked up a desperate breakout plan. The play was simple. Fang ambushes the guard, tosses the steel to Alana, and she dives. It was her only shot. Fang demanded absolute obedience, no questions, just survival. Her mission: track down Hector, the sole survivor who could actually lead her to safety. With her wild temper, Alana was a dead woman in chains without Fang's strategic genius. Fang gambled on trust. But right then, a guard clocked their shady, suspicious movements. The guard moved in to crack skulls, but his arrogance became his death warrant. Boom Fang swung the heavy beast carcass, slamming the guard with brutal momentum. With the guard neutralized, Alana snatched the blade and vanished into the churning river. Fate led her straight to Chen's struggle, eventually bringing her back to her kin. Her story finished, Chen urged her to regroup at the camp where Hector was stationed. Alana wasn't going back without a trophy. That dead sea beast was coming with them. They strapped the monster to Junda, carving a massive trench through the Golden Dunes. En route, they crossed paths with Hector and Stonebone, searching for their sovereign. The grim truth emerged: 10 more Sea Tribe warriors were still rotting in enemy cages. A rescue mission was non-negotiable before the torture began. They needed a foolproof strategy. Distant smoke rose